Evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Tuesday, December 9th, 2014. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'd like to take a moment of silence to have us reflect on our duties as town officers and also to pray for the safety of our soldiers both abroad and in the United States. Thank you. Pursuant to Mass General laws, I have to announce that this meeting is being recorded by East Long Meadow Cable Access and also by the Selectmen's Office, and I have to ask if anyone else is recording this meeting. Thanks, Chris. You've been trained well. I don't have to ask your name and everything. Our first items of business this evening is a public forum, and I've been reminded numerous times and sort of gotten a slap on the wrist in the fact that a public forum allows the person basically 5 minutes to state their case, and then we take it under advisement. It is not a time for debate, so we will try to adhere to those rules because we've been sort of gotten off track in the past, and if there's a case where that doesn't satisfy someone, then they can also always request to be put on the agenda as an agenda item, and we can go from there. So our first person at 6 o'clock is John Turner. How are you, sir? So once again, if you don't mind, just giving us an idea of what you're here for.
I'm going to read a statement and make a few things, and then I'll leave.
All righty.
Okay, this is a statement for the records. As you're aware, I've been coming to these meetings for a very long time, 21 months to be exact. Early on, I had been assured that my concerns had merit and that issues would be addressed. In reality, very little has been accomplished. As time goes by, my motives and actions have been called into questions. Tonight, I wish to set the record straight. First, I have no hidden agenda. I simply want to see the town cleaned up. There are small business owners and employees who have no trouble abiding by the zoning laws. Why should they do what is right while others do not? Second, if you think I'm the only one concerned about how the town looks, I am not. Some are neighbors of those in violation who are afraid to speak up. Others are people who have stopped me on the street or call my home to thank me for speaking up. Third, I have never walked onto people's property. There is no need. With a decent camera, it is very easy to take pictures from the road. That is the point, to photograph what is obvious. Fourth, Mr. Hellier stated that at no time have I appealed any of my decisions. He is right. His initial written responses to the issue is not the problem. As you know, by law, the person in violation has 30 days to correct the violation. I have the same 30 days to appeal. By the time it is obvious the violation has not been corrected, there is no appeal process left to me other than to come here before you. Fifth, Mr. Hellier believes I have a personal issue with him. I do not. I have an issue with zoning laws that are on the books that are not enforced regardless of who has the job. Finally, at the last meeting, Mr. Hellier and Mr. Gorman referred to me as a vigilante. I wasn't quite sure of what they meant by that, so I looked it up. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, it means a self-appointed doer of justice. I guess perhaps that's what I am, because no one else here is doing the job. When I was here, here's a copy for all of you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
When I was here the last time, you assured me that I would have some closure, and there hasn't been much of anything. I did get something in the mail today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got a copy of that right here.
Okay. Right. And just to set the record straight, this letter is dated July 4th, 2014. And you are ordered to immediately place the dump truck in compliance with our zoning bylaws. It's still there.
Okay.
That's 5 months. And I can go through others that he's supposed to, by law, get back to me within 6 months, and it's 30 days. And he hasn't even inspected stuff that I passed into him over a year and a half ago.
Okay, then we will obviously take that under advisement and get back to you. If you want to give, if you want to, I know you can go through this, but if you want to give us a list, that'll probably make it easier, and we can just review them, because, once again, I know we're getting conflicting reports, because I know we heard from another taxpayer that everything was taken care of, but like I said, I don't want to get into this is not the forum to get into a discussion of this.
I know, and I
so-
brought in pictures,
Yeah, okay,
and I went around with Mrs. Thorpe once, and they were not in compliance.
okay,
Through the chair, I'd be more than willing to work with Mr.
Okay.
Turner.
That'd be great.
I have set up a couple of appointments with him already,
okay,
and so I'll just go ahead and
That'd be
continue
great.
with
Thank you.
that, just to
thank
follow.
you. All righty.
Yeah, listen, I did give
Very good.
Mrs. Thorpe some copies,
Okay,
and I will make some more copies.
okay,
but
and follow through,
but,
she'll be
you
happy to
know,
follow through with you.
Paperwork is paperwork.
Right, okay. But she'll be happy to,
Just to set the record straight, Paul, before he leaves, the word vigilante was by the court system, not by Mr. Hillier or myself.
okay. All right, thanks. Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
Our next appointment, and we're running a couple minutes late, is George Tracy. And he's brought a special guest.
Hey kids, how are you?
Merry Christmas to you.
First time I've been
Sir,
before
nice to
them.
meet you. Okay, and once again, I
I
know,
got 5 minutes, so if you mind, I'll get right to it. I understand,
I'd love it, Joe.
okay.
I know you said before something about the 5-minute limit, maybe
Oh,
tough
I'm
to
gonna
keep
try and
this.
make it so you don't hit me with that gavel.
I
It's
would
happened
never hit
before.
you with the gavel.
The reason we're here today is that
Him maybe, not you.
well, there's been a long and ongoing problem between the town and my claim, Mr. George Caddy, Tracy, relative to a sewer project that was done several years back.
Okay.
Give you a little bit I have copies of everything for you, should people want it, but we're gonna ask that someone look into this further, I'll get you with that.
Okay.
To give a little bit of history, he lives on Mill Road. Mill Road is approximately 3,710 feet of frontage. The front, when the sewer project went in, the part of his land that has the sewer is 248 feet.
148.
248.
148.
Okay. That would mean that he has 6% of the land on that street that is paid under that project. He paid over 20% of the whole project. Something here, I would ask that we have someone.
This was a sewer betterment, or just bringing sewer to your
Bringing
property?
sewer.
Okay, thank
They
you.
did is they charged him to go all the way to the end of the road, which they didn't do. I haven't seen the contracts. All I've seen so far are the numbers that he's paid, what he's been charged. I spoke to Mr. Florence about possibly working things out, but again, I'm not the math major you are. He has 6% of the road that has the betterment out of the 3,700, and he's paying over 20%. So, of the
Right,
So
right,
something,
okay.
in my opinion, is wrong, and I would ask that somebody review. all the
Okay,
facts.
if you're gonna get us some, some background information on this, do you mind?
Well, that's why I didn't know we were on it for just 5 minutes. I'd love to be able to sit down to see exactly what you want. I have numbers that were paid. Mr. Florence also has, I guess he's worked with George throughout the years, or
Okay.
over the years. There's been so much done on this that I, quite frankly, if I gave you a copy of everything, you can have it, but it'd be easier for me to work with one person or two people
Right.
one-on-one.
Yeah, because what we'd wanna do is just get some background information, and then maybe get some from you as far as like the frontage and the things you told us here tonight. Maybe get some information if Tom has it to some, and then obviously we'll go from there and see what we can do. And obviously, it's a DPW issue, so we'd have to work with them.
Well, not
If-
necessarily is it just a DPW issue at this point, but we can get into that later on. I wanted to
Okay.
progress into a different situation.
Okay.
Ms. Tracy's an 84-year-old gentleman that has been dealing with,
Some
well,
personal issues,
enough
yeah,
said,
personal
enough
issues,
said.
yeah, I understand that.
So,
Yeah, if you, and what I might suggest is if you get that to us, we can review it, or either one of us, and if need be, we'll just have you back, and then just go through the whole thing with you once we have a better understanding of what's going
well,
on.
I will say, these two documents, which are the street plans and the betterment, that's really all you would need until we're gonna get into it further.
Okay,
So I would provide anything to whoever wants it. It's just that I don't want to waste the next meeting starting with just a small amount when there's a lot here.
Right.
Is it possible that you could entrust the office with it so that we could come in and review it in Nick Bro's office?
That you find, and again, I know Mr. Florence has,
Okay.
he's worked on this the whole time, so he has a lot of documentation, but I'll certainly provide, you have the basics in front of you,
Yep.
and it gets very involved and complex afterwards.
sure it
So
does.
I'll start off giving the basic information, they can contact me anytime they want.
Yeah, and even if it's a case of, and I'm speaking for the board, and I don't want to do that, but if you didn't necessarily want to like leave a large sheaf of papers here for extended
I
period
don't
of time.
mind. You guys gotta
Okay,
read 'em.
all right, that's fine. Yeah, I was just saying, because if we didn't, we could set up a time, maybe a day or two, where
Oh,
we were
that's
all
true. That
available,
would-
and
that
just,
might
you could
be-
have it available for us, we could pick a time to do it instead of, and then just go from there.
Definitely, yeah.
Right,
Sure.
right,
That
okay,
would be a good
I'd
idea.
appreciate
So
it.
would you like us to set up another hearing day? Would you like to review the documents
Why don't we
first?
review the documents
Yeah.
first?
Great.
Because to be honest with you, we've got our next meeting's next Tuesday, which I don't know, we wouldn't be ready for, and then the next one after that is December 29th, and that's strictly for,
Budget.
budget items, so we'll
Okay.
be at the beginning of January. So it'll give us a little bit of time to review it, and maybe come back to you with questions, either one of you.
Sure.
And then, because if we can get some of the questions answered outside of a meeting, then when we get together, we might have a little better idea of,
Yes.
instead of like reinventing the wheel and going
Exactly,
over
that's why I
everything
don't want
again.
to be two
So,
documents, I don't
yeah.
want to give you all this, and this isn't all of them, there are a lot more.
Right,
What I'd like to do, Paul, is get the DPW
Well, that's a-
involved too,
that'd be
to
another
find
thing,
out why they did what they did.
okay, that's a great
And
idea.
give us a reason, you know?
That's a great idea. Once we review this, that might be a good idea, and
I'll
even,
tell you what they're gonna tell you.
No, no, that's-
I asked them.
Yeah, I know, that I'm gonna tell you right now, that will not be a productive meeting.
Well,
It would not at all,
okay.
and it will be very animated.
Did you know what their answer was?
Yes, I know, they said,
all right.
that's what they do, it's your fault. They were rude, but that's part of
Okay.
other issues that we don't have to get into now.
All right.
The main thing is we're trying to take care of this problem. You
Right.
paid 15,000 already, and there's an outstanding interest going on and on and on. And
Okay.
so,
All right, definitely.
okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you, Joe.
Good to see you. Angela, as always.
You can't be, you're not as fast as him.
I know, I know.
No one is.
I know, thank you.
Oh, I know, thank you.
All right. Our next item is a public hearing. So what I would like to do is first open the hearing, and then I would, if the clerk would be so kind as to read the hearing notice.
Hereby it is given under Chapter 138 of the Mass General Laws of MESS LLC, doing business as Bentley Bistros at 53 North Main Street, East Long Meadow, has applied for a change of manager from Brian Ryan to Christopher Frey. The Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on this application on Tuesday, December 9, 2014, at 6:15 p.m. at the Town Hall, in the Town Hall Hearing Room, East Long Meadow, Massachusetts, 01028. So submitted by Paul Federici, Chairman, William Gorman, Angela Thorpe, and we are the licensing authority.
Thank you. If you gentlemen would like to come up? How are you? Nice to meet you. Sir, how are you? These chairs are getting smaller.
Oh, really?
Is that, yeah.
It
Yeah, I have
has
the-
to be that.
I
Could be-
I have the same problem.
After Thanksgiving, they shrink in the wash.
All right, and you are here for a manager change.
Yes.
Okay, why don't you, we can start with, before if anyone has any questions, but we can start with, why don't you explain to us, do you have your experience in the business and,
I've been in the restaurant industry about 13 years.
Okay.
Cooking and managing kitchens about 4 years,
okay. And you are ServSafe?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
I brought
wonderful.
a copy of that.
All right, good,
Thanks a
good.
lot.
Yeah, you can get that, get a copy of that to Lorraine, and then, wonderful. Anyone else have any questions?
no, I'm all set.
Angela?
Probably do, but I'll pass this time.
Okay, and since it is a public hearing, I just wanted to know if anyone in the audience has any comments, questions, pro or con regarding this change in management? Yes, Ralph?
I would just like to say, Ralph Page for the record.
Thank you.
I did know Brian Ryan, he was excellent. I thought very highly of him, and I'm hoping Chris will do as good of a job as Brian.
Thank you,
All right,
Ralph.
Thank you.
Brian appreciates it. Any further comments from the board?
No,
Then I would propose a motion to, oops, I'm sorry.
no, you just have to trust the management.
Yep.
I'm assuming that everything else is clean and,
Okay.
okay.
Make a motion to change managers of Bentley's Bistro from Brian Ryan to Christopher Fry.
Second.
So moved.
So moved. Second. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What you said?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Okay, we are back almost on time. Our 6:20 appointment is, oh, I'm sorry, I would like to now, we were gonna,
Here.
that was our chance to rifle through that.
I took all the stuff with me.
I'd like to now close the hearing on the previous matter.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Our next appointment is Amy Lynn Delgado. How are you?
How are you?
Good.
Good evening.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Hi, how are you? Hi there, how are you?
Glad you got my message.
I did. Good. I didn't want
I
to
don't know
bother
whether
you.
you did or
I
not.
did.
Yeah.
And you were here, you had come in front of us before regarding Heritage Park and the thought of making it a no-smoking environment.
Well, I think, well, my original letter, I think, I'm not sure how this got mixed up maybe on the agenda, but it asked to address all the recreations and parks, public parks in the town of East Long Meadow. So not just
Oh,
specifically
that's right,
Heritage Park.
yes, I remember
That's
that,
correct.
yes, that's what you said.
Heritage Park just happened to be the place where I discovered this little bit of a problem that we have. So it just seems like a natural extension here. We have 39 other communities in the Commonwealth that are already on board with this. I went ahead and put together a regulation for you, which I dropped off. I brought copies, if you would like.
Yes, please.
And
Thank you.
this is adapted from the city of Boston, and where laws aren't copyrighted, it was pretty easy to go and kind of see and place what we needed here to put it in place for the town. After we met selectmen down at the town, we had a really nice day a couple of days after that, and I went down there with our children, and you wouldn't believe, but a gentleman was smoking a cigar, and it just takes so much, I don't know, it just takes the enjoyment out of being there. The safety factor, I've worked in EMS for 15 years, serving the city of Chelsea and Revere, and I've seen the effects on, obviously secondhand smoking that affects our children at parks, but also in their homes. We can't do anything about homes and cars, but as a community, we can come together and put a regulation in place to protect our children in recreation areas and in parks. We all know the effects of secondhand smoking, but then there's the fact of the filters and the litter, for that, kids eat that stuff, they're in big trouble, The animals, those critters, that's no fun either, but our main priority here is to keep our public safe. So I would love us to go ahead and move forward with this if we can't tonight, to just let me know what I can do to facilitate us to move on with it. I think it's important. I would not be surprised if all the communities in the Commonwealth are soon to follow. Public beaches are on board on Cape Cod. There are 9 public beaches. I'm sure we're gonna see more of them jump on. We want everybody to be welcome. It's not, we're not trying to exclude people, we just wanna keep people safe and healthy, so.
You know what, in retrospect, I wish we had had our rec director,
Oh,
just, to get some input and things, so I don't know if, I would love to hear from him on this. I don't think he would be opposed to it, but,
what kind of input?
well, just because he's,
Don't mean to put you on the spot.
no, that's fine, just because they're sort of under all these fields are more or less under their purview.
Who's that, Paul?
Our rec director,
Oh, Colin?
But
yeah.
You know, I gotta say, for my experience has been, even back when my son used to play soccer, in the rules, it did say that there would be no smoking during these events. So,
And I know, I'm pretty sure is Forest Park not,
It is not, Springfield is not.
because I remember
It is not, Holyoke is.
my youngest son, who's now 25, when he was about 12 playing, I remember his coach scrambling off to sneak a cigarette in between innings because.
Well, at least he was kind enough to go off the field. People are just
Oh
not
yeah, he was
that
hiding. He was
considerate,
hiding in his
you know?
car actually, and he'll remain nameless.
If I may, through the
Sure.
chair, I am, as a whole, in agreement with this, but I would like I know you would like us to approve it
Of
tonight.
course we would. We were always
You know,
like
but-
things done yesterday, but I know there's
yeah,
time.
I understand that, but I think we need to do due diligence and do a little bit of checking for ourselves as well before we put our
Yes.
policy into place. In fairness, if the board were open to having a hearing, perhaps, since this is going to be townwide, that might be something you might want to consider. I just think we need to be fair on both sides to this, although I will say that I am in favor of having no smoking. I still feel that we have to be fair to everyone.
And also, I'd like to bounce this off our town council, just to, you know, and that's a good idea too, as far as,
The only parks we'd have is right here, right, the center and Heritage Park. Because all the schools already got that in place for the
Right.
What
school,
about the
where
little
all the
red
ball
house?
fields
Is
are.
it-
Huh?
Isn't there a playground up at the little red schoolhouse?
Oh, up at Center School, where it used to be.
and obviously this would eventually, if we pass this would extend to the Brown Farm property, should we put
Exactly.
fields in and the like over there, so, okay.
And because it is, and with respect to the board, it is a public health issue, so the Board of Health can go ahead and move on that without, you know, it is, so keeping on them, you know that, of course, but, so how can I help move this forward? Do you need some more from me? I've gone ahead and cited those laws in Massachusetts general law under both of those things. I don't think it needs to be any more lengthier than that, but if you need me to put together more information, what is it that I can do to help move this forward?
I think what you got here is good, huh?
I do too, and what I'm thinking is, and please feel free to, anyone to correct me, is as we go through, like, just have it reviewed, the whole policy by town council. If we decide to have a public hearing, then we'll get in touch with you, and you may wanna, you know, bring your ammunition, so to speak, cause I don't think, I mean, in this day and age, I don't think you'd get much
Yeah,
resistance.
I don't think you
but-
really need very much,
Okay, well,
other than
but,
the.
you know, but, you know, for that purpose, but as far as right now, I think this is fine, and we'll run with this, bring it to our, have our town council look at it, and we'll go about, setting up like a hearing, and, if anyone wants to, what's that?
A specific hearing for this matter?
Maybe as part of one of our meetings, but yes, so townspeople who wanna come in and speak pro or con on it can do that, and then we can get a better sense of how everybody feels. All right,
Might ask a question.
sure.
Okay, so if folks are not in favor, that still doesn't eliminate the health risk that it poses to
This is true.
children. Okay, so although we might have some folks that might not be in favor, I mean, I don't want to say that their opinion doesn't matter, but it really doesn't when it comes to the public health risk that
Right.
this poses to the public and to children. So although with respect to their opinion and their smoking habits, and we do want to keep people included, you don't really have a say when you're affecting other children and people in your community.
True.
So,
True,
I.
but I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
I
no,
didn't
I
mean to interrupt
understand, and I will work with you, and
Okay.
we will, and we'll get whatever
Yes.
you need to move forward with it from me.
Well,
You know how to contact me.
Yeah, like
and-
Paul says, as long as we go through council and there's no problem,
Right.
I don't see where we're gonna have a problem.
Sounds
Right,
good.
and obviously the hearing would be, I understand I have grandchildren that'll be playing, and I understand the risk, the potential risk, but I also know that we represent all the taxpayers, so we
yes.
wanna
Of
hear
course
from
you do.
everyone,
Absolutely.
and not be exclusionary in at least everyone's opinion, so.
That sounds
All right.
good. Okay, so then I can,
But, and I wanna thank you for all your work
Yes.
on this.
Oh,
No,
you're
this is
welcome.
great.
Thank you very much.
and I provided you with a packet with some examples that other communities are using as far as signage goes. So,
Patrick, where?
I dropped it off at Town Hall with your name on it. So, there had 3 copies of this as well as some signage, so that you
Okay.
folks could possibly review it before.
Sure.
I take it that you did not get it, so next time I'll put your name specifically on that package and have it dropped off. And so we'll kind of go from there.
That sounds good.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for your
Just been
continued
informed
work.
it's in the hard copies that we got
Okay.
tonight, so
Gotcha.
I have it.
Okay, very good. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming in and bringing that. You
That's
don't
good.
even
Thanks
live
for
here,
your
and you're.
concern.
Oh, I just live
Love
right
that,
over- yeah.
love that.
Can you-
Community in the broadest
Everybody,
sense.
right?
Yeah,
Everybody's in the
exactly.
community. So,
Okay,
right,
thank
thanks a
you.
lot.
I'll be-
Well,
yeah, I'll be
hear
getting
from
in
you, okay?
contact with
Right,
you,
take care.
okay?
Happy- Merry Christmas.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we have actually 10 minutes. We can do one of two things. Why don't we, are we finally set with the July 22nd meeting minutes? Were the corrections, those are the ones that have been hanging around with the corrections since the Carter administration? Okay, not yet? All right, so we'll table those.
Thanks, Nick.
Next, why don't you want to go ahead and read the meetings invitations and reminders, if you don't mind? You don't want to do that either? Want me to do that? Okay.
You want to do it right now?
Well, we got 10 minutes to fill, so I didn't know if you want to get into actual business.
So I can get into these hard copies.
What you reading?
All right, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, can we just take a break to get into the hard copies?
Hard copies of, oh, they're just,
Stuff, yeah.
yeah.
And-
You want a 5-minute recess?
Yeah, that
5-minute
would be
recess? All right, I'd like to
absolutely
make a motion for a
fabulous.
5-minute recess.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Our next item of business is we are doing interviews for a part-time position in the clerk's office. And in speaking with the town attorney today, one of the 3 candidates is a client of mine, and I've known her for years, and she's also a close friend of my daughter. So based upon his suggestion, I'm recusing myself from the interview process and the selection process. So I will leave it, since you were the liaison,
Yep,
feel free to take over.
we'll miss you.
Thanks.
Okay, first thing was we're gonna have Tom Florence come up, who is the department head, who will be participating in the interviewing process today. To give you a little insight, no, you're gonna be right here, right at the table. I guess I could move over, but I'm okay right here.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. There were 22 applicants for this position, and I must say we had several people that were from town that did apply, and that was very encouraging, and they were qualified applicants that applied. We narrowed that down to 8 people to interview. One person declined the interview because she had found employment since she had applied, and so we interviewed 7, which brought it down to 3 finalists who we will interview tonight. The reason that some people may say that it's a part-time position and why are we doing it on camera? Well, this person probably will see most of you in town when you come to pay your tax bills, if you have questions, and it's almost like a little introduction to them. So, and this is the process that we had agreed on at our last meeting, and so we are following through with that. So our first candidate is Ms. Carrie Dowd. Would you show her in there, please? Hello.
Hello again, Angela.
Hello there.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
Nicole, I apologize for that time. Nice to see you.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi, it's a pleasure to meet you. And I will shake your hand as well. Give you props.
Well, welcome, Carrie.
Thank you.
The way that we're going to do it is we're going to ask you a couple of questions, and at the end, we'll give you an opportunity to add anything that you would like to add that you haven't covered during the interview. This is Selectman Gorman, as you just met, and Ms. Lorraine, and then you met your Tom Florence, the director. So he'll start off with the questions, and we'll just go around and take a few.
Sure.
Linda, start off, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, terrific.
Okay.
I'm a product of Holyoke Public Schools, born and raised, proud to say that, in Holyoke. My parents still live in the small ranch that we grew up in. 1 bathroom, 2 men, 3 women. It was brutal, but we lived, and I am grateful every day for my parents. Wonderful people that really were selfless, and that's how parents should be. Taking the sale of my grandparents' house, taking the money and saying, you're going to college, you're going, all 3 of you are going. I went to St. Joseph College, which is now the university. It's a big university now. My brother went to Providence College and my sister graduated from Wheaton. I've been in retail ever since I was 16, involved in that. And again, had so many wonderful opportunities. Sang in choir in college. I was helped out the admissions office by being a guide for the admissions. It was a volunteer operation. I worked not only in retail at the time, I worked at Hoyok Mall, and then when I was in West Hartford going to school, I also worked at West Farms. So I worked for Foot Locker. I miss the discounts now because my kids need shoes all the time, and they're up there in price. It's just a wonderful opportunity that I had. I got to meet Gail King working at Foot Locker. She came in. I was on student government. I was class president at St. Joseph College all 3 years out of 4 there. I got to meet George Bush Sr. when he came. It was just a crazy experience. The dean calls and wants me in her office. Okay, what's going on? Why is the dean calling me? You know, we're selecting you because we want you to represent the school and meet George Bush. So I do have a great picture of that. He looks like a stand-up, a cardboard stand-up, but nonetheless, it was great memories. And like I said, I'm trying to pay it forward with my children, which is why I'm seeking a job. I'm now at the point where the kids are okay. I need to work around them, and which I have been doing. So retail has always been forefront, always a people person, getting out there. I did have a wonderful opportunity to internship during college at Channel 30, met Beasley Reese, worked with, again, a phenomenal amount of people, but it then narrowed it down that I did not want broadcast journalism. It wasn't for me. I thought being an English major, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to report the news, and it was a wonderful way to say, you know what, it just was not my cup of tea. But again, every experience makes you who you are. And it gives you character and strength, and I've just had so many wonderful opportunities. And waitressing, I've done that for books, you know, tuition, books, college payments. It goes on and on. But I've always been a people person, and I'm ready to get back in the game and come back to work.
Okay. What experience do you have with customer service, and have you recently attended any workshops?
Okay. Well, again, I have retail experience going back to high school. After I graduated from college, I went right to work at the Hartford Insurance Group in Connecticut. I worked in Windsor, Connecticut, and I had to have my property casualty license. So at that facility, I was actually working in a customer service on a 1-800 line, and it was for AARP members. So soup to nuts, everything. We had a big, large manual in front. The only state we did not take calls because it was a non-competitive state. All the rates were set in Connecticut. They call, we had to know exactly, okay, you're calling from New York. Okay, Mrs. Doe, what can I help you with today? You know, lower your policy, help you change a vehicle, maybe your husband passed away. So you have to have that sympathy, and you treat people the way that you want to be treated. Because after all, they're the ones that are writing your paycheck pretty much, in essence. So the customer service went on from there. After that office closed, I drove from Holyoke to Southington every day. So I made that trip every day to work in the sales office at the Hartford. So again, building the policy right from the ground up. A whole bunch of rules, regulations that we had to go by, and we dealt with everything. You're dealing with emotional people. They've lost a spouse. You've had a husband that maybe never had any of the financial background, or maybe the woman doesn't, and you have to walk them through that and say, it's okay, I'm here, I'm sympathetic, I can, you know, in layman's terms, explain to you what needs to be explained as far as insurance. At that point, I went to an agency in South Hadley. I worked for the Jubenville Insurance Agency, and then that opened up. I didn't just do sales and service, I took claims. So I've seen people at their best when they're buying a new car, they're buying a new house, but I've also had to be compassionate when they've had a death in the family, they've had a tragic accident, there's been a fire at their house, they've been burglarized. So it goes on and on, but you know what? What you see is what you get, and I'm very compassionate. So I'll sit down, the tissues are there, if need be, that's okay, cry on my shoulder, that's who I am.
Carrie, how would you, in a work environment, what type of person are you?
I'm a doer. I tend to, I think, if I have to say I have a negative, if I have to say I have a fault in that, is trying to be perfect. Perfect doesn't exist, but I try to be close to that. Again, treat other people the way they want to be treated. I've always worked with open door policy. The management's always been open to suggestion, and it's always been a team effort. When I worked in the waitressing, the restaurant management really lacked a lot, so it was tough that the employees really had to band together. So it's going above and beyond, and that's the work ethic my parents have taught me from day one. You go there, it's a job, it's more than that. It's more than that. You show up, and if there's an extra project that needs help, people need help with, you volunteer for it, so.
Okay, thank you.
Team effort, you're welcome.
Let's continue on around. Next question, how do you handle stress?
Work out. I have to work out. I have a best friend from 7th grade when I was in band. We played saxophone. I've done so many different things. It's kind of hard to condense it in 15 minutes. It's every day. Put the DVD in. If you can't go out and walk in this weather, you put that on, and you have to release stress.
Same thing, here you go.
Okay. This is I should have. Okay, do you have a pad?
Do I have a pen?
Yep, this is a scenario.
Okay.
A is a person is at the counter. B, your computer is freezing. C, your colleague stops by to inform you of a new procedure. D, your department head has provided you with an urgent memo. E, an irate person is on the phone complaining about their taxes. F, a report is due on Thursday and it is Monday. And G, general.
One second. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I don't mean to
Sure,
stop you,
that's
but I'm
okay.
really sure, I'm really taking notes quickly. How about D? D was memo, urgent memo.
Urgent memo. E is an
Irate
irate
person.
person on the phone complaining about their taxes. F is a report due on Thursday and it is Monday. G is general filing. Now, here's the question. How do you prioritize and handle these tasks, and explain why?
Okay, well, being that I worked in an insurance agency, there was constant movement. The phone is always ringing. You're not just in bad weather, because
So-
we knew. I would have to say
What's first?
the counter. That person is right there literally in your face.
Okay.
Okay, so the counter would have to be.
Okay.
Again, the freezing computer, that's happened before too, when you have a person at the counter. So I have to say I've experienced pretty much all of it. You deal with the computer. Oftentimes, I mean, we are at their mercy. It's 21st century learning and technology, but you make compensations. So there may be other ways that, you just say, okay, right now the computer's not down. Let me get the information if need be. C was new procedure with a colleague with new procedures. Memo urgent. Okay. Then I would have to say the irate person is, I'm assuming, on the phone. And I would handle that.
Okay, so irate person's number 2?
So number 2 would be irate.
Okay.
General filing would have to be dead last.
Okay.
I'd have to say, this is kind of difficult to want. You want it all done, but you can't do it all. Then I would say urgent memo, number 3. Colleague with a new procedure would be 4.
Okay.
Five, I mean, I don't know how I would work on the last one. Counter first, irate person with taxes second. Provided you're the only one, I mean, the only one in the office when this is all going down. I would say 5 would have to be the computer. I mean, just make a mention to somebody,
Okay.
because you've taken care of the counter, you've taken care of the irate person, the urgent memo, the colleague that needed the new procedure,
So that leaves,
the report and the general filing. The report, and then the filing. It's a toss-up. I mean,
Okay. Good enough. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Carrie, this is a four-part question, but I'll go easy.
Okay.
No, you don't
All
have to
right,
write-
well.
You don't have to write nothing down. I'll go one by one. Okay? Being at the counter, you would be responsible for receiving cash credit card payments. A, tell us about your experience with cash and credit card payments.
Okay. Through the retail experience, I've had to man the cash register, take payments when we had to take the old-fashioned way when the system was down with the carbon copy. So I've done that. That's kind of old school. I'm dating myself. At waitressing, I've had to take cash, handle that, hold the credit card in my hand, deliver it to the cashier. Various organizations, the high school band manager. I was a band manager in high school. I had access to funds. I sold Mary Kay. I had access to people's credit card numbers. Again, treating people the way you want your own things treated, your own personal life. That's their numbers that you have control. Shred it. I burn everything at home. I'd smoke a shredder. I borrowed my dad's. I just burn it all in the fireplace. So with the utmost care. So I have definitely had more than enough experience handling. And in the insurance agency as well, I have to say.
Okay. The B, tell us about your experience with reconciliation of cash drawer, which includes credit card payments.
I had to help balance the drawer back in the day when I worked retail. I did have to do that on occasion. But then it was normally an assistant manager who would handle that, showed me the workings, but generally assistant manager handled that. At the insurance agency, there was an official bookkeeper that would then reconcile it at the end of the day. So I think it's my understanding too with the job, if I can just interject, that I'm only working in the morning, so it wouldn't be my necessarily job to then reconcile everything at the evening. That's what my thought process is on that. But I've been schooled in that.
All right, thank you. C, how comfortable are you with performing these functions?
100% comfortable.
The last one, D. I didn't write these.
It's okay.
Is there anything you would advise a person paying with a credit card?
Well, now they're saying, everyone should wrap it in tin foil. If you don't wrap it in tin foil, you should buy one of those snazzy cases that protects your identity, because now there's scanners that people carry on them and your identity is stolen that way. I never carry a credit card with me unless I know I'm using it for a specific reason. So any transaction I've handled, it's with the utmost care. People are, especially in the holiday season, they're not as mindful, and they may tend to leave cards around. So when you finish up a transaction, you make sure that everything is closed and the person has a receipt on them and they have their own card. So.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Karen, tell us about your PC skills and any software proficiencies and any other office equipment you might have experience using.
Go back to every job I've had to be adaptable to train, whether it's a cash register, whether it's a computer system. So the sales might have, when I worked in insurance, sales had a different system set up than the servicing. And then I went to an agency and that had a different system. And then we needed to go and look at the registry and go into their and look at the registry. So I've been adaptable. And my last employer was Meadowbrook School. And I was working with the autistic children. And they had their assistive technology. So they had their little talkers with them because they were nonverbal. So no one trained me in that, but I was able to figure that out on my own and help them. So I'm willing to learn. I know there's a municipal system, and I'm more than happy to learn that.
That's great, thanks.
I'm sorry, 1 minute too. You did ask. At the agency, I used adding machines, fax machines. So yeah, I've done that as well. So I'm sorry, I didn't add that.
Okay. This is an easy one, and it is your last one. Okay. What book is on your nightstand?
Oh, gosh, it's my senior. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite, one of my favorite teachers at St. Joseph College was Sister Mary Joan Cook. She just passed away in the spring. It's Chaucer.
It's what?
It's Chaucer.
Chaucer?
Chaucer,
Oh.
yeah, Old English. It is. And my son had to memorize parts of it because he read it in school, and the teacher couldn't, she said, how do you know that? I said, well, because I studied that, but, so.
Well, that's
Sure, sir.
the end of our question part. Is there anything that you'd like to add that wasn't covered in the questions that you gave us?
I don't think so. I think I've, like I said, I've run the gamut. I've done many things, TV commercials, writing scripts, in the band, singing with the Dan Kane Singers, soloing, working at weddings, having my own business with the Mary Kay, and then singing at weddings, and it's all been customer driven. It's how you are. You're the customer, and you're important to me, and that's what everyone coming in that door wants to feel. That, you know what, you count, you matter, you're writing my check, you're paying for me to be here. And that's pretty much what it's all about. So that's how I've been raised, and I look forward, to you reviewing everything. If you need copies, I brought extra copies of resumes, cover letters, and all that, so I don't know if you need that, but I'm ready to get going.
Okay.
So, thank you so
Thank you
much
so
for your
much.
time. It's been a pleasure, and
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Gary.
Again, sorry, I'm freezing.
Oh, no, it's okay. It's cold.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you.
Did you tally? Take a minute to tally. Did you finish tallying, Mr. Gorman? Mr. Gorville, did you finish tallying?
Yes. You are.
Oh, you did? That was easy.
We ought to do this all the time.
Well, I figured it out. How about that?
It's easy.
I try to make it easy. She's gonna come back to it. She didn't.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah.
Just let me know when you're ready. Just, let me know when you set it. Lorraine, can I see your thing of questions?
Mine?
No, Lorraine, the one I gave you, I gave you a copy. It was on your desk. Can you come in? Okay. Just 1 minute. Oh. Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and do this then. Go ahead, Nick. Send the next one in. The next candidate is Melissa Ford. I figured it. Just read it to me. Hello.
Hi, Melissa.
Good, how are you?
Hi, Melissa. Hi. Good to see you again.
How are you?
Good to see
Thank you for coming in today. We're just gonna ask you 8 questions.
Okay.
And then at the end of the questions, we'll give you an opportunity to, at the end of the questions, we'll give you an opportunity to add anything that may have been left out, that may not have been covered.
Okay.
Or anything that you would like to add.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So, Selectman Gorman,
How you doing?
And you know, Tom Flores, the director, department director.
Okay.
And we'll start with the questions.
Sure. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations on
Thank you.
making it, being the finalist. And first question, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, my name's Melissa. I went to Assumption. I got my business management degree. I graduated in 2010. And since I've graduated, I've been given the opportunity to open a few restaurants, working about 70, 75 hours a week. And now I'm looking to get into more of the business side of it, into more administration.
Excuse me for one moment. I'm sorry. We're having some difficulty hearing up here.
Hello?
Hello. I don't know if you want to take the conversation outside or... Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. We just couldn't hear you totally.
Okay. Sorry,
And we want
sorry.
to give you all the attention.
Okay. Do you want me to?
Continue.
Do you want me to continue? Okay. So I got my business management degree from Assumption College in 2010. I've opened a few restaurants. I've done a lot in the restaurant business, and I've also done a lot of work while I was in school. I worked at the library, and I really enjoyed the administration part of the library side. Since then, I've just kind of been working, trying to find my niche in time and space, and hopefully be able to get into more of the business side. And since I did go to school for business management, to get into a full-time, daytime position, somewhere where I can really get my hands in and be of use and be of help and learn more of the administration side.
Thank you. What experience do you have with customer service, and have you recently attended any workshops?
Customer service, for me, I call it a lifetime of customer service. I started very young in the restaurant business, and it was always, front of the house, whether it was answering the phone or going to customers and talking to them. I also had that through the library, and I've also worked at some retail stores. So you get a lot of hands-on customer service where you can't help the fact that the customer is in your face there, so you have to be able to deliver your biggest smile, your best, even if you're having the worst day ever, you have to be able to deliver your best day to them so that they get the best day experience through what they've come in for. In customer service, you're always trying to make them happy, and the customer is always right no matter what. So, I've always enjoyed being around the customers and talking to them and being able to relate and go back and forth and making sure that they are having the best experience, whether it's coming in, checking out a book or ordering something to eat or, buying a piece of clothing.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Melissa,
Yes.
in a work environment, what type of person are you?
I'm a very happy-go-lucky person in the work environment. I do have a passion for my job, whether it be, the library situation, a restaurant, and I always give 110%. I love talking to people and being around people and just helping out, and I definitely enjoy it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next question is, how do you handle everybody's favorite topic of stress?
Stress, the best way for me to handle it is to be fully put yourself into the situation, but you have to take your personal and your emotional feelings, beings out of it, and it's all about, making sure they're happy. So whether you have to calmly and quietly talk to them or smile at them, I handle stress very well, and I hope that, I do so without stressing everyone else out. And as long as I know what I'm doing and I'm good, then stress is not a factor. I try not to make it a factor because you don't want it to come into your everyday work environment. So I do handle it very well because I've been in a bunch of different situations, whether it's the low key at the library or being the manager of a restaurant. You have all different types of stress. You have all different kinds of people always coming at you, whether they're happy or they're mad or they're upset. You always have to put your stress aside so that way you can alleviate their stress and make the best of the situation.
Excellent. Plus, I say it's not good for you.
No, stress makes you pull your hair out.
That's it. Thank you.
How do you prioritize and handle these tasks that I'm going to give it to you on a piece of paper?
Okay.
And explain why. The first one is A, a person at the counter.
Okay,
2, your computer is freezing.
okay,
The next one is your colleague stops by to inform you of a new procedure.
okay,
The next one is your department head has provided you with an urgent memo. The next one is an irate person is on the telephone complaining about their taxes. A report is due on Thursday, and it's Monday, and G is general filing. So if you could tell me how you would put that and what order you would do those,
okay,
and why.
okay. Is it okay if I just look at it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And
Oh, thank you. Okay. First and foremost, I would take care of, the person at the counter, because the customer always comes first, and you don't want to leave them waiting too long, whether you go over and just say, I'll be with you in just a moment, just to make sure that they know that they have been accounted for, that they are there. You know, customer is always right, and they really look for making sure that you make them the priority above all else. You know, they don't know what's going on behind your table, behind your desk, whether you have all these issues. So I would definitely do that first. Then I would go with D. The department head has provided me with an urgent memo, because my department head, there's clearly, it's urgent, there's a reason it's coming out, and whether it, you have to prioritize, because it could be involved with the task that I'm doing right at hand. So if I were to ignore the memo that's urgent, I'm either, it's like you're saying, you're ignoring your boss, or you just don't care about your job, so it's urgent, you have to take care of it. That's definitely a priority. And then I would have to say probably colleague stops by to inform me about a new procedure, because clearly your colleagues are always, you're working together in the same environment, so you need to be on the same page, working together. And that way, you're always informed and know what the procedure is and how things are going. Then I would, irate person on the phone complaining about their taxes, that's something you want to take care of. If the phone's ringing and you answer it, you may have to ask them, to hold a minute, but you definitely want to make sure that you take care of it as much as you can. And obviously, if it was something need be, with the computer, then I'd ask them to hold for a moment and, try to take care of the computer issue as quickly as possible. If they didn't need the computer, then, I could just sit and talk to them and use my other resources, whether I have to go to another colleague or go and look for some paperwork, and make sure that all the information that they're giving me, I have in front of me, so that way it's not a question of he said, she said, anything crazy. Then I would definitely do with your computer freezing, because you can't do the report without your computer. So then after I unfroze the computer, I'd definitely work on the report that's due on Thursday. Even though it is Monday, I like to be able to get ahead of things and make sure that I have a few days, if I get it done Tuesday, that way I have time to go through it, look it over, make sure everything's done correctly and the way it needs to be. And then I would take care of the general filing, because it's just general filing, and it's not something that is an issue that needs to be addressed or taken care of right away. Filing, I could do something, whether I organize it on a desk or an area somewhere, and then are able to, after gone through all these tasks, then take care of it, but definitely make sure of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Melissa,
Yes.
this is a 4-part question too. I'll ask you one at a time. You won't need a pencil.
Okay.
Being at the counter, you would be responsible for receiving cash and credit card payments.
Okay.
Could you tell us about your experience with cash and credit card payments?
I've been dealing with cash for a very long time, especially in the restaurant business. You deal with cash daily. I've started with something as simple as getting, a $100 bank for the day, and that was going into the register, and I was responsible for that. You come in, you count it, make sure it's there, and at the end of the day, you have to give back $100. If the $100 isn't in there, then you're responsible for what's missing, since I was, the only one that was touching the cash register. I've had
with waitressing, serving, bartending, as well as managing the restaurant, you have to have cash every day on you. In the manager position, I was the sole responsible person for any and all cash, whether it was credit cards, cash, or accounts that came in to make sure. So I was also responsible for all the all the drawers. So you have 3 bartenders, a few waitresses. You have to make sure all that money is in, and at the end of the day, if there was even 25 cents off, I had to take that out of my pocket and put it into the bag. So I was always making sure that cash is definitely a high priority because you're responsible for it, and that's not the best feeling to know that you work so hard all day, whether in a retail position or such. I also had cash dealings with the library because we made change for like faxing and making copies and things like that. So you were given, that was a little more difficult because it was all change, so you had to count it down to the penny, and it was no dollar bills, anything like that. So it's definitely tough when you have to sit there at the end of the day and make sure you have, the $35 in quarters and dimes and all that. So cash is definitely something I feel okay with handling, and I am definitely responsible with that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
The second one, tell us about your experience with reconciliation of cash drawer, which includes credit card payments. You pretty well answered that.
She did.
Why don't I just go on to the next one?
Okay.
Okay. How comfortable are you performing these functions that you just explained?
I'm very comfortable. Since I've been around it, I have no problem making change. I've done things such as like an old school register where there was no math, no calculators. You had to know all the prices. You had to know how much the tax was and everything like that. So I'm definitely okay with punching some numbers and getting things done. I've always loved, even I know it's not math, but cash and math. I've always loved the two. Definitely something I enjoy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
The last question I got for you.
Okay.
Is there anything you would advise a person paying with a credit card?
I would advise them to make sure they take the receipt with them. And if I had a copy, then we have a copy for our records. They have a copy. I would also advise them to, check their bank statement, make sure it's gone through, whether they do that, online or on their phone the next day. And if there was any discrepancies, that way they have the receipt and they have their account information. There's always something or some way that we could fix it, whether we need to go back and they got, double charged or, undercharged, something like that, just to make sure they keep their receipt and we can go over it if any problems.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
One more question for you.
Okay.
From him.
Okay.
Tell us about your PC skills and any software proficiencies and any other office equipment that you may have used.
Well, with the computer, I feel very comfortable with it. I've been around it for a very long time.
You grew up with it.
As something as early as high school, I took a typing class, and then I went to college and I took not only a statistics class, but I also took like a Microsoft class, which taught you through the statistics and through math doings how to use Excel and how to put formulas in. And I've also done took a marketing class so that I was able to go through and really work on my PowerPoint skills and really get good at that. Microsoft Word I have no problem with. I'm always on the computer, you're typing up your resume or you're typing up a paper or something like that. I also have, I know it's outside, but cash register, Micros POS, which is a point of sale systems. I've done that. I've done a Chow point of sale system, so I've definitely been dealing a lot with computers, and it comes back very quickly. So as I sit down, you find something, you try to sit down in Excel, and it just comes back to you like riding a bike. So it's very nice to just be able to get on there and do it. And I feel totally comfortable. If I'm not on my phone, then I'm messing around on my computer doing something with it.
Last question.
Okay.
What book is on your nightstand right now? That's easy.
That one, actually, I'm a little behind right now. It's called Summer Wonderland by Elin Hildebrand. It's a kind of a girly romantic summer book, but I do enjoy Elin. I've read a few books by her, and she's a really good author, and I do enjoy it. So when I do see anything, you know, whether I'm in Target or in Costco buying a book, if I see something, she's definitely, like, I actually bought it in Costco because I saw her as an author on there, and I was like, oh, great, new book by her I can read. So
Okay. Well, thank you.
thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to add that wasn't covered in the questions?
I would just like to say thank you for having me, and I do really appreciate the fact that after all the interviewing that you selected me as a candidate. It's a little nerve-wracking, but it's very exciting. I am excited to hopefully be given an opportunity and be able to show you what I'm able to do and really get in and help and be a part of something that means something.
Excellent.
All set?
Yep, all set.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Gentlemen, let me know when you're done. When you're ready. Scary. Okay. All right, our next, we're doing pretty good here. The next one is Carrie Kervick, our next candidate.
Yep.
Is Carrie Kervick, can you go ahead and send her in, please? Did I say that right?
You did.
Kervick, yeah.
Say it quick and be different.
No.
Yeah.
See, that's how you get in trouble.
Yeah.
I've been on the other side of that many, many times. Come on in.
Hi, Carrie. How you doing?
Such a stretch. Hi.
See you again.
Thank you. Hey, Carrie, you've met Selectman Gorman. The process tonight is we're going to ask you 8 questions and then give you an opportunity to say anything that's not included in the questions at the end. Very similar, we want you to relax.
Okay.
Okay? All right, and we promise not to take your firstborn. Okay?
Just yourself. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and you do know Tom Florence, the department director. You'll start off for us.
Okay. Start with the questions. Question, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a organized, efficient, I like things in order. I won't say control freak.
That's a good one.
I am honest. I have integrity. I have, this is difficult.
It's not meant to be.
Good answer.
Loyal, hard worker.
That's great. Okay. And I will move on to the next one then. Thank you. What experience do you have in customer service, and have you taken any courses lately?
Customer service, I've,
Or workshops?
workshops. Customer service, I have probably 90% of my jobs in the last 30 years have involved customer service. Starting at 15, answering phones. So I feel I have strong customer service skills and ability to handle any situation that should arise. And workshops lately, in customer service? No.
However you wanna do.
Just training through the junior league,
Okay.
community work.
Thank you.
Carrie, in a work environment, what type of person are you?
Dependable, trustworthy. I work hard. I work efficient, fast. I like to manage myself, I work well with others. I like working in a group, but I also can work independently. I've always had exemplary reviews. I'm a hard worker. Fun to be around, I would say. I enjoy working. I enjoy the result. I enjoy learning process and contributing.
Thank you.
Sure.
How do you handle stress?
I handle stress by being organized and prepared, and I have a lot of experience doing it daily, so I'm good at handling it.
Good. Some better than others, that's for sure.
I find if I'm just organized, prepared, anything can be handled.
Excellent.
Okay, this one is, I'm gonna ask you, how would you prioritize these 6 things and handle the task and why? The first one is, a person is at the counter, and I'm gonna give you the slip of paper so
Okay.
you can look at it. The first one is a person's at the counter. The second situation is the computer is freezing. All of this is happening at the same time, so just figure out which one you're gonna do. Your colleague stops by to inform you about a new procedure. D is your department head has provided you with an urgent memo. E is an irate person is on the phone complaining about their taxes. And F is a report is due on Thursday, and it's Monday. And G is general filing. So would you just put those, where would you prioritize that? How would you prioritize
Do you want me
it?
to write it?
What would you do first?
Okay, I would, A, talk to the person on the counter,
Okay.
and depending on that situation, let's see, well, and then I'd go to the irate person on the phone.
Okay.
I would, I would talk C, or no, D, and then C, and F, and then G.
Okay, where is B?
B? Oh, I'm sorry. My computer, do I need my computer for the person on the counter? Is this a computer thing? This is tricky. Depending.
That's a good question.
Is my do I need the computer for any of these other tasks?
No.
Oh.
You probably would, but no. Let's for
Then
this
that's,
example.
well, it's probably more important than the filing
Okay.
and the,
All right.
but the computer will unfreeze, so let's let that sit.
Okay. Maybe it'll fall, right? Okay, fantastic. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Carrie, I got a 4-part question for you, but I'll ask you one at a time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Being at the counter, you will be responsible for receiving cash and credit card payments. Can you tell us about your experience with cash and credit card payments?
I have worked retail with cash drawers in credit cards.
Yeah.
So I've experienced doing that, and I've also filled in for a bookkeeper at one of my jobs where I would count all her drawers and go to the bank with the envelopes, money, and I've had tons of waitressing experience handling cash, credit cards, so a lot of background.
All right. The next question, tell us about your experience with reconciliation of a cash drawer, which includes credit card payments.
reconciliation, just working in retail and having everything have to balance at the end. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah. Okay, the next part of that question, how comfortable are you with performing these functions that you just told me about?
Very comfortable.
All right.
I have no problem.
And the last question I got for you, is there anything you would advise a person paying with a credit card? You know, if I was paying you with a credit card, would you give me any advice?
Advice to get a receipt, I guess, I don't know.
Okay.
No.
That's fine.
Tell us a little about your PC skills and any software proficiencies that you have and any other office equipment you may have used in the past.
I am proficient in all Microsoft programs, and I've learned numerous different programs through different work environments.
Yeah.
I feel like I am a quick learner. I'm proficient with email and the internet. And as far as office equipment, I've used fax, copier, everything's email now, so, but adding machine.
It's a big one, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
This is the last one, and it's an easy one.
Okay.
What book is on your nightstand right now?
The Art Forger.
Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to add that hasn't been covered in the interview?
I just would like to say that I feel this job is tailor-made to my competencies. I've worked a long time with jobs that have different facets, and I feel this is the best fit for me. It excites me. I feel I can contribute, learn, grow, and be successful. I'm organized, great multitasker, efficient. I have a good work rapport with everybody I've ever worked with, and I love people. And I really love the fact that I would be helping or contributing to the town. We just discussed this in a previous interview, that feeling that you get from the community service. My first interview, I didn't realize that I would feel that warm community service feeling, but it excited me. I really feel that good about it.
It's great.
She does a nice interview also.
Yeah.
Okay, and that concludes it. And we appreciate you coming.
Okay.
We appreciate everything that you're bringing to the table, too.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
I didn't give you my resumes, did you? Oh, did you? Sorry. I didn't know if you would like them.
Okay, thank you. Sherry.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie.
Carrie, thank you. Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks again for coming in. Appreciate it. You bet.
Thanks, Gary.
Wow, this is going to be tough. Okay. Not that bad.
Oh,
So let's see. Okay. And that's that. The only thing that I need to ask you is about, I have to wait till council comes in to find out. If I can ask you again about the Yes, I'll wait to ask council about that. Okay, so that concludes our interview portion. I guess we can have our illustrious chair return. And what I'll do is I'll take a 5-minute, entertain a 5-minute recess.
So moved.
And out of necessity, any conversation? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
I'm here and we're back. You all set, Lorraine?
Yes.
The next item on the agenda, and I'll bring this up for discussion. We had interviews for,
He's gonna give his recommendation.
oh, I'm sorry, okay, I thought we were doing that, okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, Tom, our department head, will give his recommendation. We'll tabulate everything, and then we'll give a decision at the end of our meeting, so that we can keep things moving and not tying folks up. Tom?
yeah. And my recommendation at this point, after the interview process and did tonight, I was very close between all three of them. The top two that I had was Melissa Bird, slightly ahead of Carrie Dowd. So my recommendation would be Melissa.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So we'll take that up for a vote. That's his recommendation, and then we'll tally our numbers and everything.
All right, I should get Nick back in here for, all right, no problem. Okay. Okay, we're all set. Now, our next item on our agenda is interviews for the Housing Authority, and we had advertised for one position. I found out, actually, during my brief hiatus, that there were 2 openings, and we have 2 candidates, and both openings are until April, if I have that correct. So I spoke to our town attorney, and he said there is no problem if we wanted to appoint both people, even though we only advertised for one. So I will open it up to, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make a motion to appoint both people, Rocco Carabet and James Moriarty, to the Housing Authority for terms that will end in basically 4 months, April. And if someone wants to make the motion, we can discuss it. Or move the motion.
So moved.
Okay, is there a second? I'll second on necessity. Any discussion?
Yes. I think it's great that we have the 2 openings. However, this goes back to the problem of not being notified of the openings. And I know that there was a request for a job description of what's entailed in this. And it just got here a little, right before our meeting. And I think there are other folks that are interested in it. I think we did advertise for one. And so we should go ahead with one and then advertise again for that additional one.
The only problem I see with that is we're only talking about a term till April.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go ahead now and advertise for one, if someone comes in February, they're gonna have to do it all again in April, but at least if we appoint both of them, then we can, the board can be full and they can do whatever they have to do from now till April, and then, the 2 new people can, if they decide to do this again, they can take out papers and run again. So that's my only thought on it.
I think it's about a process and giving everybody a fair shot at it.
Well,
But,
I
we
agree.
can agree to disagree.
Okay.
These 2 openings are both for just till April?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there any further discussion? in that case, since there is a motion out there and it's been made and seconded, is, all in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
No, I'm for it.
Okay,
It's just till April.
right,
Okay.
right, then you have to, yeah. All right, so the vote was two for, one against. So we can have both of your people till April. Yes. Go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
One of the candidate happened to be here for the discussion, and the other candidate's out in the hallway.
Okay.
Waiting, so I don't know if the board might want to just maybe, I would suggest maybe taking a moment just to recognize who the two people are.
Sure.
and Say hello.
Sure, I think I think I said their names, but yeah, why don't you invite Mr. Moriarty in?
So in April, we'll both have to run again.
Right. Yeah, they both have to take out papers. Want to come up and say hi? Because, nobody knows you in town, Rocco.
Nobody knows me in town?
No. You've been sitting there so long, you're limping.
You're right.
That's I have that same problem.
That's what happens when you're working across a 4-foot crawl space all day.
We work on what?
4-foot crawl space.
Oh, nice. I couldn't do that. How are you?
I do. Bill, you on?
Paul Federici. Nice to meet you. Briefly, if Nick hadn't told you, I'll tell you what happened. We found out that there are actually 2 openings in the board till April. So we had a vote, and we voted to have both of you go on the committee, and then obviously in April again, in April you both have to run again. But as for now, you're both on the member of the Housing Authority. All righty, but I wanted you to come in and introduce yourself. I don't know if you want to tell us something about yourself. Just pretend it's, since we don't have to ask any questions, if you'd like. It's totally up to you. I don't want to put you on the spot, but
I don't feel the need to
All
unless
right.
you're dying to know
No,
something.
no problem. I just thought in lieu of us drilling you with those, hard-hitting questions that we usually ask.
We did tonight.
Yes. But anyways, that's why we're not going to go through the process of interviewing both of you, and you both have the position. And once again, if you decide you want to run again in April, then, good for you, and because we can always like to see, people volunteering or running for things in town. And until then, have a good time with these fine folks behind you. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, do they need to get sworn in? Because we do have a board meeting tomorrow. So just wondering if
That
they
would,
need to get sworn in
is that,
tomorrow.
okay, that would be Tom Florence?
Yes. to the
Okay.
Clerk's office. If both candidates could contact the Selectmen's office, say by about 8:30 or so, we should have paperwork ready, and then we can probably contact the clerk's office to let them know that the candidates need to come in at some point
Mhm.
tomorrow. during
Where's
the
your
day.
meeting tomorrow?
At Court Hill, so if they don't get sworn in the morning, we'll have to attend the meeting.
Okay, well, I don't think- yeah, I don't think-
10 o'clock, so.
That's not a problem.
Okay.
Meeting's at 10?
10 a.m.
Oh, 10 in the morning?
Yes.
Oh, can you make it then? Yeah, he's saying.
Well,
that he-
tomorrow's a unfortunately, I'm leaving tomorrow for out of town.
Nothing's ever easy, do you know?
Usually is a.
Well, if you can,
Oh, excuse me,
Actually-
through the chair. When did you find out that you had this second opening?
We've had the opening, well, Gene Pierce had resigned probably about a year ago.
Wow.
It was last year when we had the little party for the Leones. Oh, was it summertime? I'm sorry, I lost track of time.
Oh, okay, so,
Phil LaRocca had resigned about a month ago.
okay, so when we asked for what you had open, why didn't you say you had the 2 positions instead of the 1? I'm just a little confused.
I did.
Okay, you said 2 positions?
I think it was advertised for 2 positions also.
Huh.
all right.
So why do we think, okay, I'll leave it alone. I certainly would love to follow up on that
Yeah,
conversation.
something was lost in
So,
translation.
Yeah,
so-
something,
All right.
yeah.
But in any event, so I guess if we can do this, if you're both available tomorrow, I don't know how complex the paperwork is, but,
It's a matter of just getting the card ready and then seeing that the clerk's office is ready. Usually they have either the clerk or assistant clerk there that can
Okay.
swear the individuals in. But I would suggest calling the Board of Selectmen's office if we don't call it first. Probably about 8:15, 8:30.
Great.
It's like eloping, we'll get you there by 10 if we have to, one way or the other. So it's- All right.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
And thanks for helping the town out.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Can you make it tomorrow morning?
I should be able to check
Okay.
because I work from home.
Pleasure.
so it should be-
Okay, yeah, just go down there to the clerk's office. All right. You can get sworn in tomorrow. You can get sworn in tomorrow, 8:30.
Sworn in, yes, sir.
Tom Flores is on his way down, he's swearing his guys in.
Oh, gentlemen, if you want to hold on a second, our town clerk is on his way down to swear you in.
Swear you in tonight.
Okay.
Fast and furious.
It's not that we need people, but we're not letting you go once we get you, so it's... Same to you, take care, Merry Christmas. All right, next on our agenda, going to old business, some budget matters. We have the capital plan request. The capital committee is requesting that we prioritize all our budget items, not just the few that we gave to them last time. So I don't know if you've had a chance to review the list. It's, it's like 10 or 12 or thereabouts, but I don't know if there's any comment from anyone. I don't think I'm necessarily ready to do that tonight, maybe by next Tuesday's meeting, but.
Well, I just want to say, Paul, we get like that dump issue there. I mean, we get things that we're going to have to get done.
Right.
I think we probably, have to prioritize some of them
Yeah.
because we could be in the hurt locker if we didn't.
Oh, I know, definitely. So that would
I
be,
mean, stuff like the state is going to require that.
Yeah.
So we got to get stuff like that done.
okay. So when we do go through the list, we'll have to keep that in mind, that things like that should be like number one or.
Because I was at that meeting, and
Yep.
the state is kind of working with us on this, so.
Yeah, it's either gonna be, do it on our own now, or they're gonna force us to do it sometime,
Yeah,
when we're
and
not
it's
gonna be able
gonna
to
cost us
plan
a-
for the.
Yeah, ton more money.
Yeah. Okay, all right,
Mr. Chairman?
yes.
Could I ask the board for just a moment or two to explain a little bit further
Mhm.
where this process is? Because there have been some developments that I've not had the chance to speak with any of the board members about since the last board meeting. Recall that the board on the 19th gave final endorsement to 2 projects, so now that the board's list included the 4 where you met with your department heads, the document imaging, the 2 police cruisers, the pickup truck for rec, and the 4th item, software maintenance for information technology. Then you also gave endorsement to 2 projects that are being presented by the Board of Public Works, which you met with the Board of Public Works on, the Summers Road landfill that Selectman Gorman referenced, and also the town hall renovations. So the board has endorsed all 6 of those projects as for consideration by the Capital Planning Committee for FY16. After the meeting of the 19th, an email came in from Mr. Carabetta on behalf of the Capital Planning Committee asking for the board to prioritize those items. And then, just as you alluded to, another email came in from Mr. Carabetta yesterday asking for prioritized list on an expanded list of items, which included a couple of items that would be they're all items that are being presented by the Board of Public Works as projects under their capital plan, but they would have some effect on the departments under the Board of Selectmen's jurisdiction. For example, on that expanded list now is the generator for the Council on Aging. There are 2 items on there that late this afternoon, Mr. Carabetta informed me that are not no longer for the IT. One of them would be the project relative to the energy management system for the fire department and for the library. And another one would be, well, there is a memo that I wrote just this afternoon in light of these recent requests from the Capital Planning Committee. Certainly the board has not even had a chance to look at this memo. I would ask that when the board is considering the prioritization list that the Capital Planning committee is requesting that you please take a look at the points in the memo. And my suggestion to the board, for what it's worth, would be for the board to prioritize and give consideration and prioritize only those items that the board has met with its department heads. Those 4 items, plus perhaps if the board wanted to include the other 2 items that the board met with the Board of Public Works on.
Mhm.
But I would suggest a list that would prioritize only the 4 items that you met with your department heads on, and then make a separate list and say, these are the 2 that the Board of Public Works is presenting, but that we, Board of Selectmen, endorse. And then also for the board to consider any of those items that appear on the expanded list that was provided yesterday, and see if the board would likewise offer only its endorsement of those, since it is the Board of Public Works that is presenting those items. And there's more detail in that memorandum, but I think for clarity's sake, that is the reason I'm making those suggestions to the board.
All right, thank you.
Well, through the chair, why is it broken out? Well, why do you think it's broken out? The fire sprinkler system, the first floor renovation, and the ADA elevator, when that's all one request? And the new switch gear.
Oh, I'm sorry, was that addressed to me?
It was actually to the chair, but certainly,
Pardon me.
that's all right.
I don't know why, and I think that Mr. Carabetta may have wanted to speak to that a little bit with the board, so I don't know if maybe I should go and see if he's available. But my suggestion, I don't know that reason. That's a question I don't have the answer to. My suggestion was the board endorsed it as a singular project.
It's a singular project, right, so why is it broke? It doesn't,
I don't know if it's broken down because of, I shouldn't even say, but priorities, because obviously there's items that have to be done regardless of whether we went through the whole renovation of Town Hall. But we are asking for the money for the whole renovation, even though it's over a 3-year period, so.
Well, the board of Public, through the chairman, the Board of Public Works is making that
Correct.
request.
Yeah.
The board was
It just
asked
feels like ours.
to endorse that request.
Right, okay. All right, that's fine, we will, definitely sounds like a plan as far as what you suggested, so everyone can take a look at the list, and, I don't know if you wanna, we can put this on the agenda next week. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to give a final, list, final prioritization, but I think you had said you spoke to Mr. Garabetta and said it might be a little while before they get it, so.
I did explain the board's upcoming schedule and that this may take a little bit of time because, the board certainly took some good deliberation in taking a look at the initial request that came in from its department heads, took an extra couple of meetings, and then came up with what they believed the answer to the task was, which was a simple endorsement. Now, to go and make a prioritization, even on a list that was only 4 items this year from the Board of Selectmen, I still think that's a task that's gonna take some additional hard deliberation.
Yeah, because everybody's, nobody's being frivolous, everybody's looking for important items, and it's sort of like choosing your favorite son, or your favorite child, so. So does that meet with the board's approval that we review this and come back either, or maybe discuss it next week, but not have to come back with another, with the final figures, final, roster as in our order of importance, if you will, until maybe even the January 6th meeting?
Yeah.
All right.
I like it.
Does that sound good, Selectman Fred? Okay, thanks. All right. Next item is the enterprise fund, which I believe we finally have an agreement.
The board had tasked me with going back, and really the agreement, the draft agreement is what is being proposed. So I believe at this point, unless the board wanted further scrutiny of it or further discussion, this would be the agreement for the first implementation.
Right, and I believe it handles everything that was discussed when we were sort of hammering this out with the Water and Sewer Committee last spring, I believe it was. Everything that they had offered and more is on this, is in this agreement, so I know maybe in the future there may be some tweaking of it, but as for now, it serves the purpose of what we've been looking for in the first place and what appropriations have been looking for also, so. Make a motion to,
We just got this.
okay. Well, we've been discussing this for 7 months, or 5 months, or whatever it was, since April.
We just got it in hard
Okay.
copy.
All right, we can always wait till next week.
I would suggest that the board does have some time left. This is the agreement that has been presented. Not to make a contradiction, but it hasn't changed from when it was originally presented to the Board of Public
Okay.
Works.
Council, have you looked over this?
Sir.
Jim, have you reviewed the enterprise fund allocation?
I had reviewed nothing currently with the enterprise fund, only the prior
Okay.
years.
Thank you.
Okay. Maybe we'll have you take a quick look at it for our next meeting, just to give us, give some, if you have any critiques. All right?
Through the chair?
Yep.
Didn't they say this was mandated by the state? They told us one time?
It's been mandated,
Or suggested?
it's
or-
been suggested by the auditors for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
To set up the enterprise fund, and also and once you set it up, obviously you gotta figure out a way to fund it, and the thing we were trying to discuss, and that's in there, is what's going in there, what's coming over from DPW to the
Right,
general
yeah.
fund, if you will. And we finally got, we got to the point where they've agreed to, a whole list of items that they're willing to, because it's tough, as you know, tough, different departments, in theory, we were paying for some of their expenses, but you don't want to get too nitpicky as they're charging water and sewer fees for like town hall and stuff, so
Yeah.
but you want to be able to give a more accurate picture of everybody, so you want to be able to take back, certain costs relating to their employees and
Yeah.
things, so.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you another question.
Sure.
Their insurance, their health insurance,
Mhm.
how does that go from one to the other between,
Trying to think if that's, let me see, retirement. Okay, what do you mean, how's it,
how is that paid for?
I believe it's the same as that,
Because they're splitting it up now, so.
Right, but I
Does one
think-
get paid from one and the other?
I think they're splitting it up now, but I believe the portion that was the town's portion, and Nick, feel free to correct me on this, was being paid for not by the DPW, but by
the town?
the town.
There's a health insurance line item.
Right.
That covers all employees.
Right, so now that's gonna be, we're gonna be actually getting that, our budget and their budget will reflect it correctly, because they'll be giving us the money for the 70%, or the percentage that's being paid for by the town. Hopefully I explained that correctly. Sounded all right. So that's, so that's basically, that's one of the items, is that they, they agreed to pay back in for the cost of health insurance that we had been covering, so, all right?
Yep.
All right, so we will take that up, I'll get a copy to Attorney Donahue, and we'll take that up next meeting. Next item, we have a couple invitations. We have an invitation from the fire chief for the Mass Firefighting Academy Call Volunteer Training Class graduation, I believe. Wednesday, December 17th at 7 p.m., Williston, Northampton School, 19 Payson Avenue, East Hampton. I don't know if any board members think you can attend this?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Selectman Thorpe?
Mhm.
Okay, because I think I can make that one. The next one I can't. The next one is the Mass Firefighting Academy Recruits Firefighters Training Program, which is Friday, December 19th, 2014, at 1 p.m. at the Mass Firefighting Academy on State Road in Stowe, Mass. So if anyone, please notify the chief if you can make it. And then next, MGM Casino. We have a notice of payment. Would we get another $18,000, Nick, to bring the first payment up to 50?
Yes.
I believe. And the other amount we'd gotten before to cover costs relating to our study and legal costs related to the, okay. And also, I spoke to, Attorney Fitzgerald called me today, regarding a meeting, and what MGM wants to do is they want to choose a company to do their, I guess basically do their one-year look back, to do their, you know, to do the investigating of any mitigating circumstances. So they're notifying all the surrounding towns. I don't know how many companies they have in mind that have applied for this, but there's gonna be, I think I'm the liaison to that, so I'm gonna meet with them Friday.
Oh, yeah, we should talk about that.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
okay.
yeah, I'm planning on meeting with them Friday in the afternoon to get their proposal, and I was gonna bring it back to the board Tuesday to see what, because one thing they don't want is they were trying to keep away from a posted meeting, you know, they're trying to do this simply, so, but they want, they're gonna give their suggestions Friday, and then what I was gonna do is bring it back to the board on Tuesday because obviously ultimately, we have to vote on it to determine if we like the people that they're choosing, and they're doing this with all the impacted communities.
Through the chair, I'd like to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because I've been getting asked it. What account does this 50,000 going from MGM?
Well, right now, we've already gotten, I think, 30, it was like 35 and.
31,000?
Yeah. And that, I don't know how much of it we've spent, Nick. I know some of it went towards reimbursing us for.
Those were reimbursements for legal
Right.
and study costs.
Yeah, so, so that, I assume, right now is in the general fund, because that was reimbursements for costs.
We set up through the
Separate
chairman,
fund.
we set up a fund for casino funds,
Wonderful.
so that 18,000 change
go into that.
plus goes into that.
Okay, good. And at some point, we're doing another 75, aren't we?
The agreement says that within 90 days after the doors open
Okay.
would be
All
the
right.
next due
Okay.
payment.
Due payment, yeah.
So that'll be sometime in 2016, hopefully. Okay. And as we've figured before, we don't know if we're gonna have any mitigating circumstances, so we can't plan on spending that money until we determine if there's absolutely no effect on our town, then we can get together, you know, a couple of years from now and say we can use it for something else, but I hate to spend it and then
I
need it
feel a
for.
traffic problem coming up.
Very well could be. All right. So next item is license renewals.
Oh, my God.
We were furiously signing these before, but there's 30 common victualler licenses, automatic amusement, 44, 30 automatic amusement, 13 entertainment, 13 health, 9 pools, 8 used car dealers, so we should assign all those before the end of the evening. Hopefully, we've got 90% of them done already. The next item is a request.
Chairman, the board typically, unless there is a exception to any of licensee in particular, and these have been inspected and reviewed, if the board would consider making a motion to
Accept
approve the
the
renewals as presented, again, unless there is an exception.
Okay. And make a motion to approve the license renewals that I just noted for approval?
All but one. Remitos, until
Well,
did we
this
get
isn't-
that squared away or no?
but this
Isn't
isn't,
Remitos on there?
I don't see the liquor licenses listed here, although.
No, that was previously approved by the board.
Okay, yeah, we already approved those, so.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, so these are all the other ones, all the convenience stores, the amusements and things like that. So that one isn't part of that, so. Is there a motion to approve the licenses?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Next item is a request for a no exit sign on Melody Lane. The recommendations from I guess right now it says not a through street, and there was a person who lives in the neighborhood that said people think it's a connecting street, and they get to the end and find out it isn't. So it was requested that the not a through street sign be replaced with a no exit sign, and based on the recommendation of the Sergeant Bates and the police department, that was something that they thought was a good idea, replacing the no exit sign with not a through street sign with a no exit sign. So based on the recommendation of the police department, I'll make a motion to approve the no exit sign for Melody Lane.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Next item is a notification from the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission regarding free technical assistance available. Nick, you want to give us a little overview on that?
This annual solicitation from Pioneer Valley Planning with regards to Valley Vision Plan. I don't know that it necessarily directly applies with the Board of Selectmen, but if any of the ideas, if you had any ideas after reading the literature, the letter, you could inform me or otherwise pursue it with Pioneer Valley Planning. Select a strategy, and there's a whole list of Valley Vision related strategies, climate change mitigation strategies, and if you were interested in pursuing something like this, it lays out what the steps would be.
Okay, thanks, Nick. Next item is a change in location, the Emporium Newsstand. Looks like it's moving next door to itself. It's moving from 444 North Main Street to 448 North Main Street. They're meeting with the planning board for waiver of site plan on December 16th, 2014. We have to vote on this move?
Yes.
Do we? I suppose we could vote on it subject to it being approved by the planning board by the waiver of site plan. That's not. I don't think that's a problem, is it?
It's at the pleasure of the board.
Okay. I just got the nod from our town attorney, so make a motion to approve the change in location for the Emporium from 444 North Main Street to 448 North Main Street with the stipulation that the waiver of site plan is approved by the planning board on their meeting of December 16th.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Again, going out of order is just not the best way to be doing business, but I understand why you are.
Yeah, I know we have a meeting that night too. That's why I was toying with the idea of not doing it, but we won't know what's going on at their meeting. And I understand, I do understand your point. Let's see, I would like to, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Next item is Board of Selectmen policies, and the first one is event notices. And that's not, I didn't put that on, so.
Just wanted to know, how are we, when things come up that are in town and one of us finds out about it, how are we disseminating that to the other board members? Do we have one, or how are we? I know I tend to try to make sure I send, make sure that Nick knows, or just drop an email, which.
Yeah. I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think we have a formal policy, so that's probably a good idea. What we can do is have Nick, notify Nick and have him notify us so we don't violate any conversation laws between us. So that will be.
I just know it needs to happen.
Yep, okay.
And sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
We don't do it so well.
Yeah. Another thing while you're on that is sometimes if there's an event that some board members are going to, if they could notify Nick, because sometimes, like that breakfast for the Murph thing there, I didn't know you guys were going until you were going, so.
But, here's my thing, with regards to that. We're all town residents.
Right.
If something, for instance, if something's happened at the Council of Aging, as resident, I have a right to go there without checking in with Nick. I mean, I'm not talking to you about any business or anything. I don't see, I think we should go to as many events as we can. We're not meeting up or anything, so I don't know why we would have to check in.
Well, I'm not saying to check in,
What would be the reason?
But I know that one particular event at the Council on Aging sort of took place after our last meeting, so there was no way to do it at a meeting. But in the future, I'll be happy to, if whoever it involves, we're happy to go through Nick and note that it's going on.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, actually, maybe the department head may have said something. I don't know. I just think it looks, if we can make it and represent our town, I think we should get there. And I think we try to do that. And I think if we're given the notice, I think we can do it a little better.
Okay.
That's all.
Alrighty. And the next item, public forum. I don't know what that's on here for. Is that?
Mr. Chairman, I put this on without any without a memo to the board. This was just for the board's food for thought. In fact, I think that the board has, the chairman, I believe, addressed it at the beginning of the meeting about the purpose of the public forum, and trying to better define that purpose and the function and so forth. It is a possibility for a policy. I would say to the board that I have not done any research on it in quite some time, but I have in my career run across where there are boards and other bodies that have public forums that will set out and make known to the public what the ground rules are for participating in them. I don't know if that's something that the board might want to see and for consideration for adoption for how the board operates. Certainly I know that the boards that I've worked for, every board that I've worked for has seen it as an opportunity for a dialogue with the parties that come forward. And I think what you as chairman, what the board members were looking at tonight was to allow for an opportunity for an idea or an issue to be presented, but then if it needs further follow-up, to try and do so in a way that might be liaison-oriented, and then to bring back to the board for perhaps for a full appointment. So I think it gets to the matter of trying to make the meetings as efficient as possible for the board, for the town, for the resident that has the issue, but also allowing for people to come in, and if they have comments that they wish to make that aren't necessarily an issue that needs resolution, that they understand that this is the time allotted, this is what you can expect from the board, you know, maybe a limited engagement, maybe a full engagement, whatever the board wants to look at. My ask to the board is whether or not you would want me to pursue and present to the board ideas for ground rules for the public forum.
Through the chair, I would check with the school committee. They've been doing that for years. It's always a little statement that's read right before the session opens up. There's no misunderstandings. I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry, go ahead,
I'm done.
I was to say, how do they do it like 5 minutes or whatever, you get to say your piece?
They say, you know, this is an opportunity for you to come before the board, and I'm paraphrasing. However, you know, this is not for dialogue, and the person says what they say, and then they move on. It's up to the chair. It is at the chair's discretion if he would like to entertain something, and then certainly if any board member would like to say something, they would also do that, as we always do through the chair. But it's nothing new. I mean, it's something that's already out there, and I certainly think it might work well for us.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going for, and I think I was the biggest offender in the last while with certain people. So, but in any event, I think that's
Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, it is. But I think that is something that we should strive for, is to keep it to the to the 5 minutes, and keep it more or less a monologue by the person interested, and then we can take it under advisement. And to that end, I actually want to thank Attorney Cabrera tonight, because he was brief and to the point, and he followed our wishes, and I know he could have gone taken that farther. I know he's a vigorous worker for his clients. So I want to publicly thank him for taking what our thoughts into consideration. All right, moving on. The next,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Would that be something then that the board wants to adopt, see it, and then adopt it, modify it for the board's needs, the school committee procedures?
I think that's a good idea.
I guess what I'm asking is, should this be brought forward for formal action by the board?
Sure, and I think that's a great idea. Just sort of.
Just make it your own. I mean, it's
just,
a very simple statement that's read. It may be 3 lines, if that.
Okay. Yeah, if we can get that from the school committee's guidelines, and then just tailor it to our needs, and then bring it back maybe next week, and we could vote on it if need be. Next item is annual town reports. You can handle this if you want, Nick, but I think it's just, I know you were typing. You're just putting out word that if anybody wants to include anything in the annual town reports, you need it by when?
Looking at Friday, January 30th of 2015, and certainly Selectmen Federici and Thorpe are familiar with the process. Selectman Gorman, this would be your first go-round as Chairman of the Board of Health, you would be responsible for drafting and, or providing me with ideas to help you with the draft on annual town report that'll be published in the spring. So would the board's okay? It doesn't necessarily need a vote, but if January 30th sounds reasonable, I intend to let everyone know tomorrow.
Okay. That's fine with me. You're the editor, so we want to go along with your wishes. Any other comments, questions?
Nope.
All right. Next item is payroll, and I didn't put that on either, so.
No, I did. I was speaking with our new accountant, and this is just to put a bug in your ear, so to say. There seems to be quite a bit of expense with printing payroll checks. And what she would like to see us do is possibly go to where our new employees have automatic deposits. And so she'll come and present, but I just want to present it, but she wants to put that bug in your ear, seeing that we do have a new person that's going to be hired rather shortly, and see if, and then also to go forward with possibly implementing, you know how when you have your pay stub, some people lose them, and then,
No.
well, they do. And then they come back and they ask her for multiple copies, you know, be it if they're going for a house, for a mortgage, and they need so many pay stubs. It's really, it's becoming time intensive and work, bogging down the work a little bit. And so that she was discussing perhaps having a small fee associated with requests like that. Not saying that she wouldn't be more than willing to do it, just saying that maybe a small fee might make people hold on to their items a little closer. And it's not a lot of people that are doing it, it's just a small percentage.
And unless I'm mistaken, to sort of piggyback on that, I think if we have, if in our system where they can go online.
Yeah,
and
she was.
I don't know if they can get their paycheck stubs, though. I know they can get their, like, year-to-date information, but I'm not sure about pay stubs
But what she
themselves.
was thinking of doing is possibly having that happen, but I'd let her speak to that. That might be an opportunity, and it, you know, it's gonna save us some money.
Definitely.
And we're looking for dollars to save, so.
We
it's
tried
just
that,
something.
a few years ago to get everybody to go to,
Yeah.
but there's always pushback.
I'm one of them. You know, I mean, she's been talking to me about it, and, you know, I understand, we just may have to go that way. Consider direct deposit for everybody.
Yeah.
They don't require that here already, huh?
In some areas, again, every department is kind of doing their own thing. And so we're just trying to, she's looking at ways to unify things across the board. And so she's talked about possibly on the meeting for the 29th coming in and presenting, but I just wanted to put that bug in your ear.
All right, next is the Board of Health.
Okay. And Nick, you might have to help me out with this, but the Republic Service Community funds, we had approximately $20,000 left, Nick? That's about $7,500 a year. And we're supposed to, the three of us were supposed to come up with where we might want to put this money, because we can only do certain things with this. So I came up with a list of my own here. And is this a list?
No, that's the list that I produced, because
This is your
I
list?
said I would do.
All right.
So where's your,
Well, I can give you what I had on the list.
okay.
And what I had is, we got 7 GIs from Springfield that are in the service right now. And I talked to some of the families, and they're getting care packages, and the next one is going to be in January. They do it through the Key Club at the high school. And I figured that would be a good thing to donate some money to them for these young kids, because all 7 are from East Long Meadow. And like gift certificates for them for like, when they come home, I talked to a couple of the mothers, and they were saying about these guys are definitely going to want to eat at a restaurant somewhere for the way they're eating right now over there. So if we got gift cards for that, and gift cards for a movie or something for them, because they had no type of entertainment over there. And the other thing I had was for the Council on Aging, for the food pantry. The The fourth thing I had was for the Shriners. And the fifth thing I had were for scholarships, like for the environmental club at the high school. And the last thing I had was for, I see in the paper for the Toy for Joy, they're lacking funds, you know, for the little kids that need stuff for Christmas. That's a list I had.
Do you have a dollar amount on any of these things that you were talking about?
Excuse me?
Do you have a dollar amount on any of these items that you?
No,
were
I
referring-
figured we could come up with it between the
okay.
three of us, you know.
Okay. Well,
But this is your list, Angie.
yeah, as you have in front of you, the PA system for the veterans. And because I don't know exactly which ones they would want, I did get some flyers with regards to some PA systems that include microphones and speakers. But also they needed a portable tape player as well, and that would not to exceed the $2,000. The scholarships are the Selectmen Scholarship, and there would be 5 of them. Last year, we participated in this. We gave one $1,000 one and 4 $250 ones. And what the requirements were that what had they done with regards to recycling. They all submitted videos. That's an option. There is also a need for an assistance with the mock Senate. I think it's the, goodness, I can't remember. I think it's the Lions Club that sponsors them, and they needed a little help with that. And I'm assuming that help is still needed, and that would be 2 of the students that they had asked us for. Town beautification, that's a project. With regards, I had spoke about beautifying the fire hydrants and possibly some floral things around our town, a little corner that may need sprucing up. I'd also like to see, we have volunteers in our town that are giving quite a bit of their time and sweat and tears, and they don't ask for reimbursement. But perhaps this would be a good time to do recognition awards, similar to what you were saying, Mr. Gorman, with the certificates. Also, the last one was when we were at Chief Mellis's installation. We had 4 officers that presented, which were the color guard, and they presented very well and very proud for East Long Meadow. However, they didn't have the uniform, the correct uniforms, the dress uniforms. So for a small nominal fee, we can get those dress uniforms for that color guard and have them present. Since we have the money and it has to be spent, perhaps that's a way that we could do it. And so those are the things that I had proposed.
Okay.
And so it still doesn't do all of it, but perhaps the rest could go.
Yeah, if we get a
Divvy it
mixture
up,
of.
make everything happen.
Because I was thinking more along the line of scholarships also, which both of you had. One thing, I had a question on Nick. I hate to be like practical and I hate to spend all the money, but I assume it would be cost intensive to do, like, this money would not work for like a bulk pickup. You know, in other words, I'm sure it would cost more than what we have. I'm sure probably more to, you know, allow the townspeople to do furniture or whatever they want to get rid of, you know what I mean?
Townspeople do what?
You know, if they have furniture to get rid of,
Oh,
give them
yeah.
like one shot to put it out. But I'm guessing that may cost more than what we have in the till. That's the only thing that scares me, so. Yeah.
When the town had upwards of 90 vehicles going through for hazardous waste, now granted, hazardous waste has a certain cost with it. The bills that we were getting were probably like $4,000 or so. Just as by way of giving you an idea, I think a bulk pickup would be, had the potential for it to be an extremely popular event. I have to admit, I don't have a price tag. I don't
Okay.
know. It seems intuitive to me that once you back out scholarship money and money to pay for the hazardous waste day,
Right, because that's $2,500
let's call
roughly,
it 20
right?
roughly, so you're probably looking at 16,000 roughly
Yeah.
really available. I couldn't tell you right now,
Okay.
but it seems to me that 16,000 likely wouldn't cover the full
Right.
cost.
Maybe that's, you know, we have contract negotiations coming up. Maybe we could throw that in as some sort of little carrot for us to, but yeah, because there's a lot of good ideas between both of my fellow selectmen, so I wouldn't want to, there's too many different good ideas to put all your eggs in one basket, so, all right.
Well, if I were to have to prioritize, my first
Well,
one
yeah, I was
would be
gonna-
for the VA
Yeah.
PA system. I'm sure we could find something for them. I mean, because they, when we're recognizing them and they're having their program, they deserve the best.
Yeah.
And so, that's my feeling. So that and the scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to see our police levels.
Yes, yep,
Yeah.
that's,
So those are my three.
Well, what's the board's thing on, what do you want to do with this? Probably, make a list out and,
I thought that's what, I thought we were all supposed to do something like this, but
yeah.
you got mine. I'm good.
Okay, all right. Yeah, we can, if you want to just
We'll
write,
flash out
write
the
yours up
numbers,
and
find out.
get them to us, we can,
Put a cost on it.
yep.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, maybe between, we all like the idea of scholarships, and maybe we get money to spend, maybe between the three, we can do it, we can make a major dent in these lists.
Well, I think the scholarships that Selectman Gorman had mentioned, that's on there. That's the same
Yep,
one.
Yep,
The do you want me to work the numbers and come up with something and present this again?
yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll put something to it.
all right, thank you.
Yep.
The next item we got on here is the comprehensive site assessment for the Summers Road landfill. I walked that with Bob Parent, and this is something the state's requiring us to do. And I think this is kind of a priority on, for capital, because this is, the state is working with us right now on this. And Nick and I went to that meeting, and they told us they're going easy on us. They could make us do something right away, but they're trying to work it out with us. So what we did, we had this, so people that are here can see this. This here is a schedule on when we have to get things done from 2015 to 2019. And what it's going to do from some of the material we get up there in the use of the townspeople is going to cost us a lot less money doing it right now. And some of the fill that was left up there by Mr. Adams is going to help us out right now, because that's going to be some money we don't have to spend for fill. So, this is something we're doing with Bob Parent right now, and I don't think we have to vote. This got to go to the town meeting, right?
To the chairman,
Yeah.
this was an opportunity for you, as you've done with the board, to report on the meetings that you've had. It gets to the support that the board has already voted on to give to the proposal for the capping procedure up there, and to let the board know that you had met with those DEP representatives. So really, I would agree with you, Selectman Gorman, there's nothing at this time for the board to vote on.
I mean, we got the Summers Road one that's, we're gonna take it in phases, we're gonna have to do it. But we also have the one over on Allen Street that they gave us. That's gonna be a problem down the line, but we're trying to work something out with that, to, work that in. But Summer Roads is definitely gonna be a necessity. So, we're gonna have to work on that. But we did have meetings with the DEP and, work things out with them, and they're all for what we're doing. And Bob Parent is definitely doing a good job on Nick, as far as,
I think that Bob and the DPW have laid out a good plan to do that, and I think the DEP seems pleased with what is being proposed.
And the next thing on the agenda is the health agent search. It's a nightmare for me. We're on our fourth one, and the lady we got working for us got offered 4 days a week in the other town she's working in. But we gotta do something with this. I mean, I'm gonna bring up at the town meeting, we need a full-time health agent here, because we're behind the 8 ball for checking stuff. And we put it out, but we didn't get too many good candidates. The only candidate we got was an hour and a half away from here. So that's an hour and a half out and an hour and a half back, which would we figure out, Nick, about, how many hours a week is that, traveling?
Well, if you, that'd be 12 hours on a 4-day week.
Yeah. So,
Through
the
the
truck,
chair,
yeah,
through the chair, she applied, or he or she applied.
yeah.
So why aren't we moving forward with? at
Well,
least-
because, Angela, because it's like everything we do with these health agents. They're from out of town. They all say they want the job. They come here. The minute they offer them something, they bolt on us. They leave. You know, do I want to take the chance on doing this again? I gotta get something going with this. I mean, we're definitely doing something wrong in East Long Meadow with this health agent. To be on my 4th health agent in the 8 months I've been a selectman. And what they're telling me is they're not getting enough money, for one thing. They're not getting travel allowance, and the you know, the hours are no good. So the minute someone in their town offers them something, they go back there and leave us hanging. I mean, this is the 4th time I got left hanging. You know, I'm going out on them, like the fire at Stop and Shop. I get called 5:45 in the morning. You know, I'm the liaison, but I'm not the health agent. I shouldn't have to be going out on these things. But out of necessity, I have to do it. That's why the board gotta come up with something on what we're gonna do with this, or we gotta offer more money, we gotta put something. We extended the thing in the paper to see if more people would apply. But I don't know how many more we got, Nick.
The deadline is Friday on
Yep.
that, and so far there have been, I believe, 4 candidates, and I didn't present anything for the board for this meeting,
Might as well wait till,
but that was going to be for the, for the packet for the 16th.
okay.
But you know, a lot of them aren't even qualified for the job.
That's what I'm saying. Are they candidates or are they qualified candidates that you received? You said there are 4.
Their applications.
Are they,
Yeah.
but are they good?
I don't have a judgment at the moment. I don't have a recommendation on any of them to the board at this time.
If I may, through the chair, Mr. Donahue, Attorney Donahue, if we put an application out for employees and someone applies, are we obligated to interview them? I don't want to, okay. So if we feel that this person, however qualified they are, is an hour and a half away, and in the case of an emergency, obviously I'm just wondering, I don't want to do anything, I don't want to say no and find out we can get sued or something, you know?
You put an application for candidates and you receive applicants and you determine whether any of the applicants are those that you're interested in hiring.
Okay. All right.
So that ends Friday, Nick?
Yes.
I mean, through the chair, it might be, if this person being an hour and a half away, if they're the only viable candidate,
Yeah,
it may be worth it to at least have them come in and see, you know, because, you know,
Maybe
better somebody's.
they're thinking about moving here.
Yeah, true. And if they're decent, then it's better than 1 day a week, so.
Well, I just gotta say, through the board, everybody got their hearsay on what's gonna happen. Well, maybe they'll move here, do this or that. But what I'm saying is, through the board, do something different on what we're doing with the health agent. We've been through 8 months of chaos with this. And between the 3 of us, we gotta come up with something better on what we're doing.
And that's all gonna be, that'll all be
But
part.
I try to get more money, I try to get more hours, and I keep getting down. Well, we gotta come up with something better.
Mhm.
This is the only position, this is an important position with everything that's happening in this country right now, you know, with people getting sick and stuff. Just like, you know, what happened with the NHL players with mumps and stuff. I mean, you know, things are happening. You know, someone goes in a restaurant, some of these places, in East Long Meadow haven't been checked in a few years, as we're finding out. So we gotta, you know, they're supposed to be checked twice a year. We're not even doing once a year. You know, if someone ends up getting sick, we're gonna be in the jam. So we gotta end up doing something with this position on a permanent type base, I would say.
For point of clarification, through
Huh?
the chair, point of clarification through the chair. The rate has increased, maybe not full-time, but it has increased and the hours have increased. So
But-
we've gone for, I think it was $15 to
15 hours, $22. Angela,
And then,
and that's
no,
still.
I'm not saying,
No.
I'm just saying that,
Yeah.
just clarifying, that it has gone up. I understand it's not what you,
But it's not
what you're
enough,
needing right
it's
now
not
to
enough to keep the people.
somebody. Okay, we don't
Because
disagree on that.
for the health agent job, they need more certifications than our IT department for this job. It's just not a job that you can just get someone. They have to
Right.
be certified in a lot of different, you know, things, you know?
Well, Mike, through the chair, let's see what we get by Friday and
Yeah.
look at those and go from
Well,
there. and
Friday,
see-
yeah.
All right.
The last thing we got on the agenda here for that is a recycling contract. Maybe you could talk on that, Nick?
This is the document that I believe was presented back to the board back in November, at least I had spoken about. This is for the proposed recycling contract with the Springfield Materials Recycling Facility known as the MRF. This is the proposal for the board. It's one that the MRF is offering a zero tip fee payment for 5 years. The contract itself expires June 30th of this year, and they're offering certain terms in there with what the payments to the town would be, certainly diminished compared with what we're getting now, but still receiving revenue for all 5 years of the contract. And that diminishment in revenue compared with now is really a reflection on what the MRF can in turn around and sell the commodities for, along with whatever their carrying costs may be. I bring this to the board because the MRF is looking for certainly action from member communities as soon as possible, one way or another. And I would also report to the board that right now Arlene Miller is also scheduled to come and speak with the board at its next meeting. And this could be one of the items that if the board had questions upon further review of it, she, I believe, would be able to assist you and provide some of that information.
Thanks. Through the chair, will she, do you think she'll know? I noticed they're offering to pay our community's entire 2016 public education fee. Will she know that dollar amount?
That dollar amount was, this year was approximately $850.
Okay, all right.
Through the chair, have we looked at anyone else who provides these services?
What'd you say?
Have we looked at, to see if anybody else provides these services, checked on other rates?
Oh, I believe you did, on that. You checked into them?
Through the chairman, as part of that presentation that I went to back in early November, and again, Arlene would provide certainly more expertise, but there was an extensive study done by a gentleman who is on the MRF Advisory Board. He works in Springfield with their solid waste division, and he had conducted a study for Springfield. Certainly a large generator of recyclable materials for waste. And he described it as what he called a spot market system. So you go out and you try and sign contracts where you're going to say, okay, for this other company, let's call it XYZ company, we'll sign a contract with you, and depending on what you can in turn sell the commodity recyclables for on the spot market, we'll make an agreement with you. Well, he found that out of the 17 plus months, or maybe it was more, I'm not going to have that exactly right off the top of my head. Anyways, overwhelmingly, Springfield, and he compared it with what the MRF was offering. The result was that Springfield overwhelmingly was better off than when you look at the data from what the potential spot markets were. So if that's any guide to you, again, Arlene would provide a backup, I believe, on that account.
And didn't you say Eileen Miller will be in next meeting to talk to us?
She is scheduled to come in and speak with the board about this matter, maybe give an update on how the hazardous waste material day was, and I believe she's finalizing the invoices, or will be sending them out. Talk a little bit about that and maybe some other issues. Oh, the other big issue that she will want to talk with the board about is our plans for the hauler renewal with Republic Services, and what this board's, she's been meeting and speaking with the Long Meadow board, and she would probably be here to discuss with this board what its thoughts are on the process with Republic, or bidding process, etc.
You've actually got that, and there's,
Yeah.
and then
Business,
there's one more after that with.
There is?
Yeah, and the holiday trash pickup, but we can, no, but you can do
Okay.
that one first.
The National Grid, got their yearly operational plan for vegetation. What this is it details specific information pertaining to the intent of the 2015 program. National Grid needs to request a touch-up retreatment of scattered locations from our contractors on where they gotta cut brush and where they have to spread herbicides, and, that's, walk along the, they'd be, they're licensed and certified applicators that walk along the right-of-ways using backpack equipment. And copies of the manufacturer herbicide labels and the fact sheets are also included in the appendix here, so. The people they use are Vegetation Control Service, Lucas Tree Experts, and Stanley Tree. Matter of fact, they approached me on my yard to do more cutting, there for the high lines and stuff. The only thing I didn't like about them, the last time they cut in my yard, they left everything there. So, but I don't know. It didn't say when they were starting this, huh, Nick?
I believe the plan lays out in different quarterly increments for the year of 2015,
Yeah, it just said the year, yeah.
but it does give specific dates at what location that they'll be.
Because when the guy come to my house there a month ago, I figured we were gonna start right away, Well, that's all I got on that. What's the other one?
The holiday trash pickup schedule, which,
I don't know. What's that?
This is, if the board, this is for consideration for the board. Annually, for several years now, the Board of Health, Board of Selectmen has considered allowing for the residents to put out one additional container or bag of trash during the 2 weeks of holidays for Christmas and New Year's. The hauler does not mind about this. It does. It is something that the Board of Health has voted on and considered. So if the board is interested in doing this, I would ask either for a vote tonight or at the latest at the next meeting.
Haven't we've done that in the past, huh?
Yes. Yes.
It's just not an automatic thing every year, no?
No. No.
Well, I'd like to entertain a motion to do that again this year.
so moved.
So moved.
Is there any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion passed.
Great. So, Mr. Chairman, if I could just, maybe at the next meeting, the board could make a formal announcement about the dates, but it would, just to let people know that it'll run from pickup beginning December 26th and through pickup of January 7th of 2015. But perhaps the board would make another announcement at the next meeting, and I'll post the information on the web and other locations.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next item is we get correspondence. There's a request for support from Environment Massachusetts. Nick, I don't know if you have any.
I think it's a straightforward request to the Board of Selectmen to see if you would sign on to a letter, a proposed letter from this group supporting solar energy.
I think it's a good idea.
I noticed, I don't know if it's my imagination or if my board members have noticed, I see those little orange signs everywhere. It seems like a lot of people are converting in East Long Meadow to solar. I know some friends of mine did, you know. There's like, they almost look like election signs, but it says go solar, and I've seen quite a few of them, so.
Those signs are against our bylaws too.
Well, I
Yeah. Oh,
didn't
it
say where I
is.
saw them, I know.
I'm just saying there.
But in any event, is this something,
When does it need to be signed?
yeah, it's true, I don't think there's a
It's taken
date.
away. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this is something we don't have to take care of right now, if we want to review it a little bit more.
They have a date on it, the 3rd.
Oh, we can always change the date.
This is just a form letter,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
I think we should consider it.
do
But
too.
certainly we should make the letter our own
All right.
and say our stuff.
Okay, we'll reconsider that at the next meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we've got, now, you have to come back with your person for the town clerk's office at the end, right?
Yes.
So I don't know if we want to do the meetings now.
I also, yeah, we can do the meetings now.
Okay.
I also want to make notice that, and we can discuss it later, I do believe I want to go to that MGM meeting.
Okay.
And I
Not a
don't know,
problem.
hopefully it won't mean that we have to post it, but we can certainly check with
Well,
council
we can
on
do,
that.
yeah, or we can do what, I remember that last meeting, if
Yeah.
one of us doesn't say, you know, just sits there, I guess, or,
Exactly.
but it is at 1:30 Friday at Frank Fitzgerald's office, so as it stands now.
Well, I don't need to read 30, that's for sure, because that's already taken place. So if you didn't get there to the capital meeting, planning meeting, on Monday, you missed it. So the next one, the capital planning meeting, will be on Monday, December 15th at 6:30 at Town Hall Hearing Room. The Board of Selectmen meeting will be on Wednesday, December,
Should be Tuesday, rather. Sorry about that.
Which one?
Missed that one.
Which one should be Tuesday?
our Board of Selectmen meeting.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, Board of Selectmen meeting will be on Tuesday, December 16th, 6 PM at the Council of Aging at 228 North Main Street. Board of Selectmen meeting will be on Monday, December 29th at 6 PM at the Town Hall Hearing Room. Town offices will be closed half a day on Wednesday, December 24th, and Thursday, December 25th, in observance of Christmas. Town offices closed half a day on Wednesday, December 31st, and Thursday, January 1st, 2015, in observance of the new year.
Thank you. Next is Town Council. How are you, sir?
Good evening.
See you.
Evening. Thank you.
Okay, executive was 32.
Would be 29 through 32.
Wait a minute, time out. We have different,
You have a different schedule?
yes.
I can see your schedule.
I'm assuming there's more stuff on mine than yours.
32 through 36.
Okay.
And
All right, so-
Also, to the 8.
Or is it 37 and 8?
38 would be.
All right. Okay, so the first item is Baptist Village Cemetery. Is this still,
This is the item coming back. It was here two meetings ago. This was the request by the prior treasurer of the Cemetery Association, saying that their membership was dwindling and they didn't have people to maintain the operation of the facility. I had suggested to the board that it might be appropriate to refer this to, or establish and refer this to a cemetery committee. In reviewing the town bylaws and the ordinances that have been adopted by the town when the Board of Public Works was created some years ago, one of the duties that is included within the responsibilities of the Board of Public Works is to act as seminary commissioners. And so I spoke with Nick earlier today. I had spoke with Bob Parent before I spoke with Nick, and advised him that we had this request and that we would forward, and I would request Nick to forward the letter to Mr. Parent to present to the Board of Public Works and let them determine whether it's something they want to take under their control or it's something beyond their kin. But it's really going to be off the Board of Selectmen's plate at this point in time.
All right, great. Thank you. Next item is a National Grid easement for Summers Road.
That was an easement that was forwarded for signature by the board pursuant to the vote at town meeting in May. This was an easement that was approved by the Board of Public Works dealing with property that they own on Summers Road. The town meeting approved it, and so when we have the form, it would be appropriate for the board to sign it.
Okay. Okay. And then I believe the only other item here is correspondence. Do you have correspondence from Maya regarding a third-party vendor?
Mr. Chairman, I hadn't spoken with council. I would ask the council through the chairman if this is an item that is should be considered under executive session with potential for strategy for litigation or attorney-client privilege with respect to individuals' right to privacy.
I would say, having reviewed the report that we received from Maya, that this was a review of, Maya was reviewing workman's compensation records to determine the appropriateness of the payments that were made by the town. It involved a misplacement really as the end result, according to Maya, of the computer that contained those records. They've done an investigation and determined that the computer, although out of the possession of their contractor for a period of time, was not accessed by anyone. And in any event, the material that was in the computer was all basically public records, and so would not be something that would subject the town to any potential liability. Based on Maya's report, I haven't seen the supporting documentation. I've just seen Maya's analysis of their investigation that they did based on the incident. But assuming that those facts hold true, I think it was an unfortunate situation that occurred, but the protocols that were in place actually prevented anything from creating any problems for the town.
Okay, great. I believe everything else is executive session, so I'd like to make a motion to move into executive session to discuss matters relating to union and non-union negotiations. What else do we have?
Contract grievances.
Contract grievances. And is that it? Or
matters involving discussions with counsel regarding attorney-client privilege, and that would be the matter involving the Hubert Acre situation.
Okay. To return to open session.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Selectman Thorpe?
Yes.
Selectman Gorman?
Yep.
Selectman Federici, yes. We are back in open session. We have a couple items. Do you want to do the...
Sure.
Okay.
Well, no, do the other thing first.
Okay. After careful discussion, we've determined that because instead of opening town hall the day after Christmas and the day after Thanksgiving and heating it and everything, we've decided that we were going to have town hall closed on December 20, or I'd make a motion to close town hall on December 26th and January 2nd.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
No, I just think it'll save us a little money than heat up the building.
All right.
That was a tough sell for me though, but I mean, I think it's the best thing for our town.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just call it
All right.
Santa Claus.
Yeah. It's the season.
And now I will turn things over to Selectman Thorpe with
Okay.
the results. I don't have to leave, do I? Do
I
have
don't
to
think
leave?
you have to leave.
Okay.
I don't think you have to leave, because you weren't a part of any
That's
of the
right.
deliberations, and so,
I'm just eye candy.
okay, well, after all the tabulations were done, the position, and it, first, can I say thank you to our candidates? I mean, we really,
It was tough.
I know people are thinking, oh, it's not that tough. It really was. We had 3 outstanding candidates, and I really want to encourage them to continue to stay involved. But when all was said and done, Melissa Thurberge is the candidate for the position, the part-time position in the clerk's office. And I will contact Mr. Florence and have him extend the job offer to her. And then he'll have her come into the office, et cetera. If for some reason she should not accept, do we want to go ahead and say who the number 2 candidate is at this time? Or do we just want to leave it and then?
Yeah, no, probably want to hurt though.
I'll leave that up to you folks, since I wasn't involved in the process.
Okay.
They won't have to go through this again.
Nope, we're just going,
All
we'll
right.
be okay.
All right.
I'm pretty, she was so excited. I don't think any one of those candidates would have said no if it was offered to
I
them.
was impressed with them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
so,
good.
so, and you know what, and that was for a part-time position,
Yeah.
So I think we.
I hate to see what you're gonna do for a full-time
We need to,
position.
well, we just need to be due diligent. Here's the thing, all of the 3 candidates that were before us, if the department is growing, they have skills that would meet, that are already met within them. So if there's something that's growing, so we looked, when we were doing the interviewing process, we looked at what they could give to the department, not just for the immediate need, but for the future needs too. And that was in some of their computer programming, et cetera. So, yeah, it is important to do your part-time interviews and, because you gotta look at the whole picture.
I just wish we could get their background before we come to a meeting though.
I agree.
Because, I mean,
I
just
agree.
like with the police department.
I agree.
That helped me by looking at them, make a determination up there because this was the kid's life.
I agree.
And I didn't want to just vote to vote, you know?
Right, exactly. I think, we probably need to look, and we're beating this to death. It is now 10 whatever. But perhaps we can look at our procedures on how we're doing our interviewing and how we get the information.
I
try
also
to
like
work
to
it out.
bring up before we leave,
Okay?
how come we didn't know there were 2 openings for this thing before we sat down when that lady
You
said
mean
that they
for-
knew well ahead of time?
Well, I thought she said, and was she wrong when
No.
she said we?
She said that lady
the-
had left, oh, sorry, my bad. I apologize.
No, you talking about for the housing?
Yeah.
Well, Selectman Thorpe asked them that, and they said that they thought it was advertised for 2 spots, so I don't know. But it was only 1?
For the spot.
Okay.
It was
All
for
right.
1 spot.
It sounds
and-
like it was a miscommunication.
And she said that position had been open for over a year. And so it really bothers me because whenever there's a position open on any of those boards, we want to make sure that we get somebody there ASAP so that they continue, we can help them continue with their daily business or what they need to get accomplished. However, if we don't know that it's there, that there's an opening there, then we don't have the tools to go ahead and get things taken care of. And that position was not advertised, and there were some other folks that were interested, but they saw that it was 1 position. And I do believe that if it was advertised as 2 positions, that we would have had more people applying. And I feel that what happened tonight was not fair. But it is in the past, it's done. Leave it in the past. In the future, I think perhaps we should have Nick check in with all of the boards and find out how many positions there are that are open right now and make sure that all of those boards are staffed and so that they can operate properly the way that they were designed. And that's what I would say moving forward. And if that's the pleasure of the board for him to do that, we could ask him to do that. So the question is that the pleasure of the board?
Sure. I mean, I don't know if we have to vote on it right now, but yeah, that way, I make a motion to, what are we exactly moving?
I'd like to see an accounting of all of the boards that are under are underneath the Board of Selectmen, to make sure that they are full, and they have all the people that they're supposed to have, the numbers.
So I guess you could just ask whoever the heads of those boards are, what their openings are, you know, if they have any spaces open at this point.
What's the starting date for this young lady, too?
That would be up to the department head. My guess it'll be tomorrow. But that's up to the department head. I'm sure he'll have to, you know, she'll have to go through the physical and all that other good stuff.
All right. Thank you both for your work on that.
I didn't hear a vote on that other thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
A motion.
So what was the motion to allow?
The motion was to allow Nick Bro to get a list of all of the
openings on all boards that are
under our purview.
All right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Mm-mm.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Can we have that for our next meeting? Or at least the 29th?
Sure. I mean, that's up to Nick. I know he's got a
No,
loaded
it's
schedule.
not. It's up to us.
Well,
But I want to know if, just to
I'll
have,
see what- yeah,
only,
29th,
I'm just
that would be-
looking for some guidelines, because sometimes things get lost.
well, it doesn't seem
And
like
so
it's
if
going to be
we put
difficult.
a deadline. No, it shouldn't be very
It's just a matter of
difficult.
asking all the board, chairman of whatever various boards, if they have
Mhm.
any openings on their board, so,
Mhm. So we can have it for the next meeting? Is that the goal?
sure. I
If
mean.
we can get it for the next, it won't be for the
It
16th?
won't be possible
Right,
for the
okay.
16th.
Then we can trouble the 29th.
Possible.
Okay, all right.
I think we need it for the 29th. We-
Possible, but we would
Okay.
have to rely on responses from other people. I can't give you a guarantee.
Yeah, it's true. Good point. All right.
Okay.
One last question before we leave. Any of the other two candidates, could they be health agent? Just joking. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm waiting for 5 minutes now.